go.
So before we begin, and before we start unpacking this, I just want to say that clearly the winner of last night's debate was Kristen Welker. That was the first fucking person I've seen from any type of legacy media that like held their fucking own and like brought us an actual debate.
It was fair.
She did a fucking good job.
There were a couple times when when it seemed as though she might have been covering for Biden, or don't talk.
Well, and even like there's a couple times where I was surprised that she let Trump say certain things, and she, you know what I mean? Like she was very amicable.
She was far more fair than I expected her to be.
Hey, she kept it on the fucking rails, which is what we haven't seen.
Exactly.
We haven't seen anything on the fucking rails this year, man. With politics even aside.
Exactly, and Trump.
But anywho, welcome back, Mike.
Hello, hola, amigo. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man.
Happy to be here.
So I wanted to have you back on because.
Of course you did.
Well, aside from us being pals and whatnot, like I wanted to get perspective of a Trump supporter as far as why they're voting Trump. Which, of course, that's a feather ruffler of a conversation in itself, which I don't understand why politics is so fashionable nowadays. Like, it used to be something like a nerdy thing.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, yeah, precisely. And, like, as I had said before on the show, if all the criticisms you can say about him, you can't say the man hasn't brought change. Our culture, our country, everything has been like flipped around.
And everyone blames him for the division in the country. Like, this man has been nominated for 2 Nobel Peace Prizes. The media has been lying about this man for 4.5 years straight since he came down the escalator. Before that, everybody loved him. He was on Conan, he was on Letterman, everybody loved Donald Trump, and he was on The Apprentice, made an NBC millions of dollars, hundreds of $1 million probably, and now there's part of the same cabal of news networks that trash him every day. So yeah, man, he had a flashlight up his keister for 3 years. The taxpayer based on a fake dossier. Okay, the Trump and Putin, if anything, let's say they're both highly intelligent and they respect each other. Okay, and that's something that you want in a leader. You don't want someone. They walked all over Obama and Hillary. They took Crimea back.
Well, I mean, it was. I think everything that's been going on since at least Bush 1.0.
Yeah.
Right. Herbert Walker Bush.
Yeah.
Possibly some stuff with Reagan. I don't know too much about it, but it's a dynasty they had.
But post-Reagan, that's when GW, or no, not GW, but HW took over, and he was the head of the CIA. Yeah. And I mean, I think he was involved in the JFK assassination.
Yeah. Back in the day, like that was.
Yeah. The CIA is a rogue organization. They don't. I mean, it's like the IRS, except like for intelligence and spying and doing. Like they have dark money and all kinds of crazy shit going on. The CIA is very, very, very corrupt and just not. It's not what that JFK said that he was going to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces into the wind, and then and then he got killed. Yeah,
he's one of the few guys, probably other than before Trump, other than Eisenhower and maybe
Yeah, Eisenhower warned about the military industrial complex.
Yeah, conspiracies. Speaking of which, let me shut my guy off as well. Continue with what you were saying though.
Oh, about what was the point I just made about Reagan? Oh yeah.
Well, as far as like JFK and
ever since George H.W. Bush, we've been involved in. We had the Cold War, and then Reagan kind of made peace a little bit.
This wall.
Mr. Gorbachev, right? Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, and they tore that motherfucker down.
Who knew it was so easy? All they had to do was just.
Well, it was a guy like Trump, a guy that he was an actor, but he came out of nowhere, and the Democrats didn't want him, the Republicans didn't want him. Because they thought he was going to be a Democrat. It's the same exact story as Trump, and he enacted conservative policies. And Trump is the same kind of guy. Trump's.
I think, to be fair, I think at least in my lifetime, I've seen Trump has brought more change than any other president I've seen
He's
thus far.
changed the world. He's changed media.
But again, like you and I, like our generation, like all we've known is this one dynasty until Trump. So of course,
the Clintons and the Bushes
like,
are like hang out with each other. Like it's
well, they used to hang out with Trump too.
It's all a puppet show. Well, Trump
like back in the '90s, Trump was in their circle.
Trump hung out with everybody, and and a lot of people need to understand is that Trump, you can call him an asshole. You can call him rough around the edges. You know, you can call him, but he's not. You can't have evil genius and buffoon. You have to pick one. You know what I mean? Because he's done job growth pre-corona. I mean that was Obama said Obama couldn't even reach 1% GDP, and Trump reached 4.2% GDP in like a year and a half.
Right.
You know, and pre-corona. It's like that guy Jorge Masvidal. He's a UFC fighter, and he was like, the Latino vote. He's like, doesn't need to go Democrat. Dana White, who owns the UFC.
He's a big Trump supporter.
Yeah, he's a big Trump supporter because he's a business guy. And Jorge Masvidal said, we were winning Super Bowls before the COVID virus, and he's like, you don't fire a coach who wins Super Bowls and replace him with a guy who's been in the game for 47 years and never won a fucking game. Yeah. And like that was like, ooh, that's a lot. You know how many people watch UFC and respect Jorge Masvidal? Respect Conor McGregor, respect 50 Cent. I mean, it's becoming a little more socially acceptable for these people, but they have to have fuck you money to fucking to say things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're trying to find a way up in that industry, especially like now, and any facet of entertainment, media complex, whatever you want to call it, because now, think about it, it's in sports, it's in news. Mm-hmm. It's not just Hollywood anymore. Like
news is completely politicized.
Everything is. Everything is.
All of our mainstream information is biased to its core. I mean, it's terrible. Even Fox News. Fox News is
it's just another wing of a legacy media outlet.
Yeah.
And
anyone who isn't an employee of one of these major news networks goes and does their does their own research. They're called a kook. Julian Assange is the most honest journalist in the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? WikiLeaks. He's never been proven wrong, and he's a criminal. What does that tell you? They don't want you to know the truth.
Supposedly there was something, and we'll probably see it if Trump gets a second term. But supposedly there was a deal offered to Assange from the Trump administration.
I don't doubt it.
I think it had ties to. I have no way to prove this. This is just what you call conjecture.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not even the right word. I don't know. I'm not a lawtician, sir.
Yeah. I got you.
Seth Rich somehow
Yeah.
As
Seth
far
Rich,
like being
the guy that worked for the Hillary campaign that got shot in the back, and it made.
Well, he totally killed himself. There's nothing suspicious about that.
He killed him. He shot himself in the back, and then he robbed himself his own wallet or whatever. And they made it look like a suicide. And this man worked for Hillary's campaign, and everyone thinks that Seth Rich was the one that was giving the WikiLeaks the emails and information how to get it. And they killed his ass.
Yeah. Well, WikiLeaks was just another domino to set off a new chain of dominoes, right? So all the previous events of the past had led to that. So now you look at something like Project Veritas,
where James O'Keefe,
and people they'll discredit them because of their right-wing bias. The problem is whenever you don't listen to both sides objectively, you're not going to get to truth.
No.
And so I've got friends of mine that are madly intelligent, but there's a part of them that they can't detach from seeing a perspective of something that they either disagree with or even detest. You know what I mean? And I mean, just to give a wild example, but I mean, there's a fair amount of folks out there, young ladies in particular, that love the serial murderer documentary series and like violent dramatizations presented to them on a flickering screen.
Yeah.
It does not necessarily mean that they want to go out and like start killing like folks like them. It's all about understanding a perspective of something. You know.
Yeah.
And we seem to have
logic and sanity.
Yeah, we seem to have lost that now. So like,
what do you mean though in terms of like
for
violence on the screen?
Well, I mean, as far as like trying to, like I said, it's a poor way to word what I was trying to get at.
It's hard to get to sometimes.
So yeah, but like if you look nowadays, there's this stuff with 1984, like some Orwellian stuff going on.
Yeah,
where you have the what do they call them? It's like the thought police.
Yeah,
you know, like if
who are the brain police? Fucking
Operation Mind Crime, like it's a Queensrÿche shit, you know. But what I'm seeing is in legacy media and popular culture, like some of this stuff that's coming out, they're trying to tell people what a revolution is. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're trying to sell them
I love
a revolution, and they're even changing words around that. Yeah. I guarantee you, like the coyotes thing that happened like last night. I understand if people didn't know that it was a colloquial term for a human trafficker, right? A coyote.
Oh yeah.
Like
Trump said the coyotes rape girls on the when they illegally bring them over the border from Mexico, and that's true. 8 out of 10 or something, 80% of the girls get raped multiple times, and they're young. You know what I mean? They're like 12, 13 years old, even younger. You know what I mean?
It's like human currency. It's fucking evil.
Yes, it's evil.
And this whole argument of like. I know I digressed from this, but to put a pin in that real quick. We got all the time. But the point being with that is I don't doubt it if what they don't do is like somehow with all this corporatocracy that we're in, right, with these legacy media deciding what words are proper and what language and speech is proper, if they don't try to spin that into like, well, it's actually a slang. I know that that's what it means, but it's actually a slang for people from Mexico, Chicano and Latino descent. I know it's not, but this cognitive dissonance, whatever this stupidity that's going on in 2020 that's permeated us, and people will not just say like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's my bad."
Yeah, that's what I was. One of my points I was going to make is Orange Man bad programming. You know what I mean? Orange Man bad. This man,
Trump devotion and Trump derangement syndrome exist. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna kind of segue and make a few points about the case for Trump, which is what the is an intended podcast purpose. Okay, but I love talking to you about
number one.
Yeah. Maybe
wait, should we go backwards? That way we finally get to number one.
Yeah, after this we can
we do a Casey Kasem countdown.
Just have talk about whatever. Anyways,
it's just bullshit. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Anyways, no new wars. This man got us out. We went through 16 years. Okay, really 32 years, really, with not 32. What 24 years. Okay, George H.W. Bush attacks Iraq. The Desert Storm. Okay, Bill Clinton comes along and pretty much ends that. But there's a lot of stuff going on in Serbia, Kosovo. Waco happens under his presidency. There's bad things happen Ruby Ridge. Yeah, Ruby Ridge. If you haven't seen Waco, the documentary on it's like a teleplay. It's like a
docudrama.
It's a docudrama. Yes, thank you. On Netflix, Waco. It is so good. Taylor Kish plays what's his name? David Koresh. Mm-hmm. It's a great movie. But that happened under Clinton. You know what I mean? A lot of bad shit happened under Clinton. Plus the Monica Lewinsky fiasco and all the women that he raped and sexually assaulted and tried to rub his dingle up on.
Wasn't there a rape accusation against Trump though?
Yes, there is, but I don't think it's founded, man. I mean, I know that he was giving information to the FBI when no one else was on Epstein. And there's an interview where he's like, it was 2015, right before he said he was going to run, where he's like, yeah, Epstein, it's a terrible situation. It was the first time he got arrested or whatever. He was like, it's a terrible situation. Just ask Prince Andrew. And he's dropping red pills, you know what I mean? Like Trump isn't part of that shit. Why do you think they hate this man so much? Just because he's not part of those parties. He's his own man.
I think he was, and he got out. There's the journalist Whitney Webb.
I've heard the story about him raping, taking the virginity.
Well, yeah, what I was going to say is the one claim I've heard of that with he and Epstein involved together. From what I read up further on that one, I don't know of any of the other accusations. I haven't looked into those other than the grabbing by the pussy thing, which is a world apart from this.
Once again, I'm here to defend Trump, and I truly believe that it was locker room talk. You know what I mean? Like he didn't say that he did that to women. He was saying that women will let you do that when you're a rich, powerful man.
He's talking about groupies. Is what he's talking about.
Exactly. So everything he says is something that you've heard 100 of your friends say.
Right.
But
and then you have to convince people that this is why you shouldn't do that. So it's a way to have compelled speech.
Yeah.
Right. Which
Trump is impervious to. He's just like, fuck you.
But before we keep going down there, about that particular one that you were talking about, where it was Epstein involved as well.
Yeah.
From what I read, there was not enough evidence for it to go to discovery.
Okay.
So it was like whatever claims were there. Again, I'm not a lawtician.
The lawyers always find a way. Like Hillary was supposed to testify, and the lawyers, got an appeal, and she didn't have to testify.
Right, but this wasn't
September.
This wasn't. I don't believe anything like a plea bargain or an appeal or anything like that. This was there's not enough evidence of this.
Yeah.
So again, if all we got to go on is hearsay, then that's fine. That's not enough. I'm saying that's not enough for me to be convinced that he's a piece of shit.
Okay, Harvey Weinstein, Epstein, they did these things for 30, 40 years, right? It was well known among Hollywood and politics. The flight logs to Epstein Island are probably dirty, and we still don't know about all of them yet. You know what I mean?
The Ghislaine, her testimony got released yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Really?
It's 465 pages. Just came out yesterday morning.
Damn. Okay. But, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I forgot what, okay, Trump and Epstein, okay. When you're at that level of power, okay, you don't go outing people and like you do when you're president of the United States. Under Trump, it wasn't under Obama that Epstein and Weinstein were. It was under Trump. It wasn't under Obama. Okay, Trump takes office, and all of a sudden, there's thousands of child traffickers, and people caught, and Epstein, is caught, and Weinstein is caught. You think that's a coincidence? You know what I mean? That's Trump directing the FBI. That would have got. I mean, those two people are very good friends with Hillary Clinton. Okay, so that if Hillary had won, we said this on the last podcast. If Hillary had won, we'd never even would have probably heard about anything except it wouldn't have been a bombshell.
No,
like it was.
No, I fully believe that.
But what I was saying is, when you're at that level of power and you start outing people and they know about it, they can kill your ass. Okay?
Yeah,
they've killed presidents of the United States. Okay, they can kill you. They can make it look like an accident. So Trump is smart. The art of war is deception. He's Sun Tzu all day. Okay, so he waits 30 years until he has the full backing of the U.S. military and half the country, behind him, and then, starts outing all these pedophiles. And he was apparently giving. There's FBI agents who say that Trump was the only one who was cooperating during the investigations and stuff.
There was even this. There was a lawsuit. Where was it down in Florida? West Palm, I think, was where Jeff Epstein had his place at West Palm Beach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But this lawyer, there were 4 girls that sued Epstein for, all of his debauchery and whatnot, and they won. And after the case was over, the suit took years for it to go through, but after the case was over, it was 2015, and the lawyer was able to give an interview for the news, the local news, and he said that the only person that called to give help out of this whole billionaire circle was Donald Trump. He was the only one that was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll tell you whatever you need to know about Jeff Epstein.
Exactly.
He was the only one.
Yeah, like,
I don't think that's coincidental. Now, I know that, like, I'll see some stuff.
He might have been cool with Epstein in the beginning, but once he realized what Epstein was into, he got on the first plane back and banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, for being, inappropriate with the younger girls and stuff. And Trump's a pimp, you know what I mean? Like, he's been married 3 times, and beautiful women throw you, but he's not into the ritual and the pedophilia and under 13-year-old girls.
Yeah, pubescent girls and shit.
Yeah, Trump is not in that. And that they always show that picture of Trump talking to Epstein, like where he's like turning around and laughing and stuff at Mar-a-Lago, and like that's the only picture I've ever seen, and that's Trump just talking to a guy and laughing.
Have you seen the?
I've talked to a lot of assholes and pieces of shit in my life, and stood there and had a conversation with them. Doesn't mean I was there fucking raping little girls with them and shit.
Yeah, well, especially if you live in the public, like celebrities, politicians, and like somebody like Epstein is like, he's in the shadows. Like, he is the pimp. Yeah. He's not on that inner circle, but he's the pimp to the inner circle.
I heard.
What do you need?
I heard Tom Hanks was the reason why all these celebrities are like Chrissy Teigen and stuff like that, and John Legend, like they're into some weird pedophilia shit. She's always talking about waking up with pizza all over her chest. And it's like, yeah, you're rich and you're a fucking model. Why are you waking up with pizza all over your chest?
Yeah, whenever you look at the WikiLeaks code for the Podesta emails, as far as like what is believed that what do you call it, the jargon used in the emails.
Yeah, pizza is a little girl.
Right.
A hot dog is a little boy.
Yeah. Like all this stuff, when you start tying that in, and you're not used to going down a rabbit hole. That
sounds absurd.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only that, but like, say it does wake you up, and that's why, like, you have something like the QAnon, which used to be such an esoteric conspiracy. Yeah. And now it's like,
They're asking Trump at the town hall.
Trump.
They're like, will you denounce QAnon? Will you denounce QAnon? He's like, well, I heard I don't know much about them. I am them, but I haven't heard much about them. I don't know much about them. I don't know nothing about them. I hear they're very much against pedophilia, and I can agree with that. But no. Why won't Joe denounce Black Lives Matter and Antifa? They're running around looting and killing. He's like, I know nothing about QAnon. I know nothing, and it's just like, what QAnon.
Well, the whole theory is like a military operation that's like an intelligence operation.
It's real. It's true, man.
I think
that's my opinion. I'm just the guest here.
I think there's more truth in there than people want to admit there is.
Yeah. Ask yourself.
For instance, whenever I, as an adult, got further into conspiracies was because of you. Like, we became pals and whatnot.
Really?
And
really?
Like, yeah, I was into like
air hug. I love you.
Pandemic hug. I love you too, man. Like, but like I was into like things like the JFK assassination, 9/11, Immortal Technique, like all of his like conspiracies with the Bush administration and whatnot. Like I was.
And when Trump comes along, that's when it just blows wide the fuck open, like conspiracy.
It wasn't so much Trump; it was David Icke. Like that.
Oh no, yeah, with
that
us.
with you and I. Like whenever, because
people, David Icke, David Icke, ICKE is. I've done this before.
I think it's even on like the clip I just made.
Yeah. But he's Deja vu. Yeah, but he's David Icke was a BBC Sports commenter. He was a soccer player for like Chelsea or whatever in England, and he worked for the BBC. He had his whole life ahead of him, and he said he was a journalist, and he started feeling a presence in the room with him. And this presence, he went to a psychic, and he said she's told him that he would go on He's protected, and he would go on the world stage and reveal great secrets. And he's been doing it for 30 years, and pretty much everything besides the reptile thing has come completely true. Everything, problem, reaction, solution, tactics, with 9/11, everything, and
he's madly intelligent. And like I never gone too deep into like the old world type conspiracies.
Yeah.
And David Icke is this bridge that connects stuff like
Everything.
the banking cartels.
He's the conspiracy theorist.
Like it's man, there part of my mind's like, don't say it. I'm like, man, fuck it. There was one night, because we met like 2015, 2014, something like that.
Yeah, something like that, back when you lived over there on Ann.
Yeah, and so I had taken mushrooms one night and just like was watching like some David Icke stuff with like a Saturn is not what you think it is.
Yeah, Saturn symbology and
yeah, like a lot of that stuff, and I get like it's just really, really fascinating to think about like how much knowledge like I've acquired, like thanks to like the internet, and just like from just like you showing me that, man. Like so like I see like so much shit that like, and I'm getting choked up that I like to fucking talk about, man. It's been a rough week, man. My fucking uncle died, and my mom, she just lost her brother, and her cat fucking died this morning, man.
Yeah,
like
when it rains, it pours.
Man, it's been rough. So like, pardon my emotion.
It's okay, bro. I love you too.
But no, see, like, I've got friends that are on the right. I've got friends that are on the left.
Yeah.
And like I communicate like just as well with like open-minded people, no matter what political spectrum they're on.
Yeah, I try to live in the inner river of the yin and yang, right in the middle, and look at everything from both perspectives. And that's the truth. I'm not just some mindless Trump supporter like, yeah, make America great again.
I've never seen this man with one MAGA piece of clothing. I've never seen him like wear the red hat, and
I don't need it, man.
And I've never I've never like seen you get belligerent with people when like discussing actual political ideas.
Yeah,
I've people get really provoked when talking with somebody that doesn't fit a narrative, that a preconceived notion of what somebody is in their mind.
Yeah.
So like,
and I'm just
of course I wanted to sit down with you for like 2-3 however many hours and just like fucking talk about the election and fucking like all kinds of shit, man.
Yeah.
So like this is what like this kind of like whole show is like all about, man. Like I want to there's just so much to learn.
Well,
like,
you did the one with your friend about the case for voting for Biden, and then you did what the one for the independent.
I haven't done one for JoJo yet.
Jorgensen.
Yeah, Jorgensen. I've got a friend that we're scheduled to do one in a couple of days.
Yeah. But
I don't know if they're still gonna be pro JoJo. Some stuff I have seen, which a nice segue back to the heart of the matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that after seeing the debate, they messaged me and were like, "What a debate!" Like, and we get to talk soon. This is going to be awesome.
That's their worst nightmare. Is like the media controls Trump's narrative, right? Or the narrative about Trump. He's terrible, racist, xenophobic, everything. Even when he does something right, they just spin it bad. But when you get to see Trump speak and lay out his points, especially when he was being the second debate last night, when he was being so calm and collective and presidential and just cool as a cucumber, and like, he's like, it's not my fault. The coronavirus, it's China's fault. It's not Joe's fault. It's none of our faults. He's like, we need to open back up. He's like, the cure cannot be worse than the disease itself, and that speaks to people, man. Like, even like
last night's debate was awesome. Like it really was. Both candidates
got to speak their mind.
Good job, gentlemen.
Yeah, well, not so much.
Well, I'm just saying, like compared to like again, man, like everything this year's been so fucking off the rails.
Yeah.
And like, it's if nothing else, and it's a twinkle of like a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe it is a freight train.
Everyone knows.
But I'm hopeful It's
I
the
think that
exit.
everyone innately knows that Trump is going to win, okay, because he has a massive following. Have you seen the videos of Biden's crowds and stuff? Like, people are honking at him like, fuck you, and all this shit. Like,
I don't
like,
know anybody passionate for Biden.
Exactly.
I know people that are passionate about, they detest Donald Trump.
Anti-Trump, but yeah.
And
But
some
that
of them are very logical with it, and some are not so logical.
That doesn't win elections on a grand scale, okay? If you know, Trump has tens of thousands of people showing up just to hear him speak everywhere he goes. Mm-hmm. Biden has nobody. It's the same thing with Hillary. They're faking the polls, man. But anyways,
I don't trust any polls.
Anyways, I want to get down to the heart of the matter. Yeah, the heart of the matter. But my will gets weak, and my thoughts seem to scatter. But okay. Anyways. Okay. So
Don Henley.
Don fucking Henley. Okay. All right. No new wars. Okay. Hello in there, like, you know what I mean? Like, is anybody home?
He is okay. Looking intently at the microphone.
Yeah, yeah. Are they in there? I'm talking, no, whatever.
Micronauts.
Yeah. No new wars. He decimated ISIS. Okay, did exactly what he said he was going to do. When's the last time you heard about a terror attack? When's the last time you heard about it?
Until 2020, hadn't. And now this year, like, everything is guerrilla. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everything's guerrilla.
There's terrorist attacks, but it's domestic terrorism.
Yeah, not a fan. Thank God I live in the buckle of the Bible Belt, Mike.
Okay.
Like,
it hasn't touched us. So, okay.
People are chill.
Okay, peace in the Middle East. That's biblical.
Yeah,
Hold on. It's fucking biblical. That's Revelation stuff. When there's peace in the Middle East, and like, okay, if Barack Obama had brokered peace in the Middle East, all these people that hate Trump would be like, oh yay, you know what I mean? He's, the second coming of Christ or something like that. Donald Trump does it, and you don't even hear about it. That's major shit. He's nominated for not one but two Nobel Peace Prizes for that. The job growth under him, it's insane. Okay, that's why I believe China. We can get into China later, but
I'll be accurate.
Yeah, I was watching this interview with Jiminy Glick, and Jimmy Fallon dressed as Trump, and he's just like, so what do you think? And whatever, and he's like, say China, and Jimmy Fallon's like, China, and he can't stop saying it. Whatever. Anyways, it's funny, but get back to this. Okay. But job growth, we're once we recover from Corona, we're gonna boom because everybody wants to get back to work. Okay, okay, and there's gonna be plenty of work. Okay, he's not racist, and you notice like last night this is the first time that he's ever defended himself against that. He was like, look, I'm the least racist person in this room. He's like, yeah, of course I denounced the KKK. He's like, I denounced the KKK when I'm 5 years old. He's like, yeah, okay, but we are in a 1984 mode of censorship, and it's the left wing. Silicon Valley is controlling all the information. They found a study, I don't have it with me right here, but they found a study that Trump, the amount of censorship that Trump gets is like 80% censorship, and Joe Biden gets no censorship at all on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all that.
Now when you say Donald Trump, you talking about the umbrella, like
the algorithms. The algorithms are in Joe's favor, and they're against Trump.
Right. Well, now you're even seeing, and don't worry, bro. We're gonna get to everything you got highlighted. Right. You want to talk about? We've only been talking half an hour, man. We got oodles of time. So it just now like sort of got dark. Yeah. The moon's gonna come out, bring a different energy.
You got a dark winter coming. Game of Thrones.
Telling you. Different energy. Why? The belt just came off.
Oh, okay, good deal.
But what was the censorship part? Yeah. On your list. I am, I'm for lack of a better term, I'm a constitutionalist, right? And the First Amendment is pivotal. Like it's how we had something like the Renaissance come about. Is like people like a flood of ideas, a new age. You know what I mean? A new age begins from not the a new prosperous age, let me rephrase, begins not from the suppression of ideas, but for allowing everything.
Yeah.
Everything. If you detest the ideas that are being said, then do not listen to it
just
or
like
engage it and
It's
try
just-
to beat it with better ideas.
Exactly. But the thing is, okay, if a liberal doesn't want to hear something, they don't want anyone to hear it. Okay? If a liberal, well, that's right now. Okay? Like, that's the censorship. They're okay with people being censored, but they don't want to be censored themselves.
I don't even think it's
Anyways.
liberal anymore, man. You know what I think it is? I just think it's part of this like religion where like they're defining the terms, they're setting the rules almost as they go. It's like playing a game with a shitty kid, but it's his game. So he's like, okay, and now the rule is that I get 2 queens.
Yeah,
it's like what the
Yeah,
fuck?
they're like, dude, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi. We could have another stimulus tomorrow, but they're holding back because they don't want to give Trump any kind of win. Like,
Not
we
only-
would win. Like, it's for the American people, and they're still making themselves look bad because people know it.
Well, not only that, but there are things that they demanded be in there. Pelosi and Schiff, these
that are ridiculous.
Well, one of them was like removing signature verification from like mail-in votes.
Yeah.
And another one was getting rid of voter IDs. Even if people voted to say we want IDs to be enforced in
For
voting,
anybody
I'm
listening.
1000% for voter IDs. As
Yeah.
far as like we want our elections to be efficient, and people were like, why can't we vote for our phone? Yeah, I fucking agree.
Yeah.
We have to have some way to keep it secure.
Yeah.
The best way to do that is with an ID of some sort that
Yeah.
can be tracked to you.
Exactly.
So we know one person, one vote in this area.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that like there are things that we can look at for the electoral college I think should be changed. For example, if you are the electorate, like it's up to you. You're the man for the job. You gotta go in there. This is what the people want, and then you say, fuck the people,
Yeah, I'm gonna
and you
throw these
vote
out.
for the opposite of that.
Yeah.
That is a problem. I do think that we have to keep geography and a landscape of how big this country is into check, right?
let's
I don't
go
believe in
college.
democracy, 100% democracy, a popular vote.
Yeah.
I do not, because that's how you get things like slavery and people as property that come up when you have more
I'll
people
say
that
this.
vote for it.
The reason we have the electoral college, okay, is so 3 major cities, or like San Francisco, LA, New York, Miami, and Chicago, don't.
I don't know where you learn numbers, sir, but that is not 3.
No, I know that. But a handful.
I get what you're saying, though.
A handful of major cities
Yeah.
because of their populations, and they're all liberal run. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mostly liberal. They would decide, without the electoral college, we wouldn't have a 2-party system. It would be a farce and an illusion because they would control every election if we went by the popular vote itself.
Well, check this out.
Major liberal cities would decide without the electoral college, without the flyover states.
Well, even if they become hard right, they become like the Middle East, like same difference.
Both ways.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But check this out. The problem is if we get rid of it on a national level and we just have it on like the state level, so like the national levels decide a popular vote, but at your state you have an electorate that decides things. Well, if you still have the electorate that's not held to be accountable to what the people want, and they're like, again, pardon my French, fuck the people, and they vote for the opposite of that, then you truly have an oligarchy that can just sit back and just hire people that are going to toe the company line, and they will stay in power for eons, for generations to come.
But you know what's happened? The jig is up, okay? Because we have access to so much information. We have access to so many independent journalists, podcasters, different news outlets,
Tim Pool now has over a million people that follow him.
Tim Pool is a complete centrist. Okay, he is in the middle until he decides who the best candidate is, and he is 100% voting for Trump. Okay, he sees what's happening with the DNC, sees what's happening with Biden, and Tim Pool is a great podcast, not to take away from ours, but Tim Pool is
you need to start your own, man. I can get you started, buddy.
I know we're gonna get there, but I did one with Teddy the other day, and we can expand this thing.
You can even just do one by yourself. I only did an hour. But
Trevor's always telling me, he's like, dude, get what's it called, the movie app on your iPhone, and just set it up with a claw, like hand thing, and just talk, and have a marker board behind you, and just talk and explain these things you explain. He's like, you just do so good on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, man, I know I should, but who knows? I don't know. Yeah, but yeah. So where do you want to go?
Well, let's see. First of all, with the censorship thing, again, the big thing that worries me with it, there's this culture war, it seems, that's happening, right? And I'm not a fan of it, because it seems like the folks that were used to be fundamentalist Christian got woke to atheism one day, and now have just become rabid, and it's been this thing that people are indoctrinated with, to sort of be taught the same way. And you even have this notion of groupthink being accepted. For instance, I do see a trend with left-leaning friends of mine that seem to think that black people are this homogenous thinking group, that you don't have a mixture of different cultures and even races within the black community in America, the same way you have with Asian and European. There's difference. There's a profound difference between what you would consider Jewish European, and then Central Germanic European, and then Vikings, Nordic folk.
Yeah.
They're these trinities that we see through. That's a rabbit hole in itself. I don't want to even go down there. But we see this stuff, for instance, the thing that worries me about this is, if I don't toe the company line, they can choose to shut me down digitally, right?
Yeah, that's the currency.
Where is the public square now? If they want everyone to move in to the 21st century, right? Yeah. Then they're setting the rules, and I understand the argument where they're well, it's a private company, they can do what they wish. Okay, they have privileges from the government. I'm sure there's money connected with it. Mm. I'm nodding my head in confusion, but I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would or should be allowed these privileges unless they're going to hold up our Constitution.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they are a publisher, right? And then people can sue them for libel, for printing lies. Yet they can choose to ban people from their platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Otherwise, you have to hold up the First Amendment.
Yeah.
I am not. That's one of the things that latched onto me with Jordan Peterson initially.
Yeah.
And again, it wouldn't have, it all goes back to David Icke, and then us just being hanging out.
99% of what David Icke talks about is not interdimensional reptilian aliens. He talks about the banking system. He talks about politics. He talks about human energy, and how we're infinite consciousness.
Thought exercises,
if
nothing else.
Yeah.
And until same way with chess, or even working out. And doing something, you get a thought exercise out of it whenever you do it.
In the words of Joe Biden, here's the deal, okay?
Come on, man.
All right, come on, man. Okay. There is a huge global conspiracy, okay, and it's about globalism, okay, and it's very rich families like the Rothschilds who control, okay, George Soros. They control the narrative because they own the media, okay, the liberal media. Then you have George Soros, who's funding Black Lives Matter and Antifa to go in and be provocateurs and start riots. So you have the same puppet master funding the people who are destroying these communities, and he owns the media and is very closely listened to about how they report on it. That's fascism. That's a dictator. You know what I mean?
That's what we live under. We live under corporate fascism, corporatocracy, and people don't. The only way for us to transcend it is in order to listen to people from different perspectives. It's the only way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So, but the censorship part of it, now they're censoring folks from the White House, and they're censored the New York Post.
Yeah, Kayleigh McEnany got kicked off Twitter or something like that.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, this worries me.
Me too. We need freedom of speech across the board.
Absolutely.
I don't care if someone is a neo-Nazi and wants to say what they need to say. They should be able to be on there and be shamed away if people don't agree with them and
I think the same way with any type of zealotry. If they're black supremacists, if they're Wahhabi fundamental Muslims,
you got the new Black Panthers.
like anybody that they're. Which again, they're all. If you think about identity politics, so if you think about the horseshoe spectrum of politics, the fringes have more in common with each other than they do with their respective moderates.
That's an interesting concept, and you showed me the diagram of horseshoe politics, but it would probably be pretty difficult to explain in this forum.
If you best way I can describe it, you picture a horseshoe, right? And you have to hold the horseshoe. You got left and right. So the bottom of the horseshoe kind of comes in a little bit.
Yes.
So your fringe right and fringe left are closer to each other, even though they disagree. They're almost two sides of a similar coin or the same coin, right?
They can equally go. Awry and cause either too much to the right, too much to the left, and and that's when conflict happens.
It's on both sides. What I think it is, man, I think it's folks that want to tell other people how to live, what is true, what are lies, and who they should listen to. I think it's all about this aspect of control. And when you can't get somebody to control, when you can't control somebody, you end up trying to dominate them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And both of these fringe ideologies, no matter what they are, I'm not a fan of them. However, this is America.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I'm not going to listen to them. I don't listen to fucking people talk shit about white man being the devil. It has nothing to do with me evading truth. It's that I don't want to sit there and listen to that kind of bullshit propaganda.
My grandmother fled communist Cuba. Okay, I was on my other side. I'm Irish and Scots German, so I didn't own slaves. You know what I mean? And nobody alive today owns slaves. There is slavery going on. I mean, human trafficking, but for the most part, I mean, is there racism? Of course, but is it systemic? Maybe in some ways, but are we doing pretty damn good? I mean, this is the greatest country in the world. It really is.
We have to set the pace for everybody else.
Yeah,
and I said this on my podcast with my buddy Tyler, as far as the Why Biden episode, that I do believe that there should be reparations. I think we should look back in history at the DNC. I think it should be dissolved and all of its funds
maybe
used for it. And there's other certain corporations that were they're still tied. You think money that was involved in the East Indian Trading Company? You think that money just dissipated to the wind? And they're just well, shucks, now we can't sell people. You know what I mean? These folks went elsewhere.
Yeah.
This is why you started seeing a shift in demographics as far as power structures.
Yeah.
They couldn't have a slave economy anymore, so they had to adapt to whatever the union had already existing in their economy.
Yeah.
So they just tapped in to their economy. They're just all right, well, see you guys later. Good luck with it.
Yeah. But Jim Crow was real.
Yeah, it was run by the Democrats. I'm deeply.
Have you seen that movie, The Free State of Jones?
No.
Matthew McConaughey. It's a true story about this guy, Newton Knight, who he defected from. He went AWOL or whatever from the South, right? Because his nephew got shot or whatever, and he was like, his buddy tells him like he died with honor, and he's like, no, he just died. He's like, I'm not fighting. I ain't got no slaves. I'm not fighting. So they can, so rich people can keep their cotton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep making money off cotton and slavery. And he goes into the swamp. It's a great movie. But yeah, I mean, we have an ugly past. But right now, like we finally get a president who keeps his campaign promises and does all these great things. Okay, historic funding for black colleges. Okay,
yeah, $500 billion
for
with a B
for black, yeah, with a B also black colleges. He's brokered a peace deal in the Middle East. We'll see how it turns out. He just got another one
today. Israel and Sudan, today.
Yes, and he's the only president so far to get to even step foot into North Korea. Do you understand that?
Wild.
Do you understand that?
Without his bodyguards,
yeah,
like no security, Secret Service, none of them.
And he's a buffoon. He's a buffoon. That's embarrassing.
He's not a politician.
The leader of the free world should be having conversations with all leaders of the world, even the ones we disagree with, from Putin to, you know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%.
Jesus Christ! Like, you actually believe that our president shouldn't be talking to certain countries? Communication is key. Like, we are not involved in a bloody war anymore. It's been 20 fucking years. We're out of a war because of Trump. Trump did that. And he did it smart. He surgically killed ISIS and pulled our troops out in a strategic way. We still have troops over there, but as far as that, winning hearts and minds, you'll never win the hearts and minds of people that you've invaded. You know what I mean? And our sins are coming back on us, or they did with the terrorist attacks. But Trump just put an end to that shit. He was like, man, it's time. He had negotiations with the Taliban. The Taliban are the ones who supposedly attacked us on 9/11. You know what I mean? It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good man. This is a good president.
I think that's what they're setting up now with Israel and the Saudis to more or less dominate Babylon, like that whole area, the Arabian Peninsula, and it's. Well, I know Sudan is it's in Africa, but it's still right there in the Indian Ocean, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But for all of them to prosper together, because what they understand is that whatever Europe has been doing with this, the campaign slogans of Biden and Kamala Harris and Boris Johnson and Macron and who's the guy in Canada? Trudeau. And the UN, the United Nations, all have the same slogan: "Build back better."
Yeah,
that's their
globalism. Yeah.
Anybody that wants to control the planet, if comic books hadn't taught you this before, is fucking evil. It's fucking evil.
Yeah.
You can't fathom that this notion of world without borders. How? There's a shitload of people that don't believe that shit, man. Yeah, it's just going to be barbarian horde domination.
Exactly. Listen.
You can't have that.
I got a good point to make. Okay, the European Union. Okay, it was a 20-year experiment. It was a disaster because there's an unelected.
But you get to travel easily.
Yeah. And
so why complain?
But the thing
about overlords when you can travel easily?
But the thing is, the EU, Europe, 2 world wars. They fought the entire 20th century is how Europe designated its borders and worked its borders out. And then someone comes along and it's like, oh, let's just dissolve all our borders, and whatever is relevant in Turkey has to apply in Britain or France, and all these different cultures can come in, and they're using migration as a way to overthrow the sovereignty and rich history of countries.
Yeah.
And Brexit, what's his name?
Farage?
Farage.
Nigel
Yeah,
Farage?
Nigel Farage.
I'd love to stay in chat, but I unfortunately just cannot do that right now.
Exactly.
We are free and sovereign people.
Yeah.
That's a captivating man to watch.
Yeah, he is. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are. I mean, Trump. Him,
If that's what the people want and that's what they voted for, like that's the best way we've seen to enact change is to just go out and vote for what you want.
Anything besides a sovereign nation voting, having a fair election and voting whoever they want in power, and other countries deciding what you're going to do, like anything besides fair elections and sovereignty is globalism, and it's evil, and it's all about control, centralization of power and control.
Yeah.
They want to put microchips in us. What do you think? I mean, it's not.
We'll get to that later.
It's not some kooky shit. They want to centralize power, and China is our worst enemy. You know.
I think it's all just whatever is nearest the top of the pyramid, whatever's nearest there, that's what's got the world controlled. Like as far as like what agenda do they want to run in the chess game, right?
Yeah.
What do they want governments to do, right? Mm-hmm. Why America has prospered is this idea of
free market.
Well, not only that, it's a constitutional republic. So you set your boundaries pretty small, and you're like, okay, you guys, all of us, we're all going to vote of how to run our community.
Yeah.
And that's how you run your community. And then, like, it sort of ripples out from there.
Yeah.
What you don't want is you want the opposite of that, of rippling in from exterior. Like, you don't want to have other people telling you how to live, what to do, what you can say, what you can talk about, what you can post online, like all of this stuff. It's a bad idea.
The founding fathers were very much about limited government and letting the states decide what they wanted to do, and that's how the United States works. And people want to do away with that. I mean, they want to make everything federal. The Democratic Party wants to increase their power over us. The Republicans want to let the roaring bull of America loose, and you know, business and jobs and everything. They want more freedom. You know what I mean? Second Amendment, freedom of speech. That's what the right. It's Trump made it cool to be Republican again. He made it cool to be conservative because he is the conservatism is the counterculture right now.
In a weird way, it is. Like, it's so odd to I mean, now it's sort of like normalcy.
But I wouldn't even call it conservatism. I call it Trumpism.
Because it's not, because like Trump's not a fucking conservative.
Trump is a phenomenon.
The Republicans, they want to win just as bad as the Democrats do. However, the Republicans were hip to their populist candidate in 2016, and we're like, fuck it. He's got the ratings. Crowd loves him. Just let him have it. Let him have it. Let's see what happens, and maybe he'll play ball with us.
Yeah,
and
like he did.
Like it's
he's played ball. He's played more ball than they've ever played. He's done prison reform. Okay, he's pardoned a lot of people, and he's done a lot for the black community. Tim Scott is one of the most impressive African American politicians I've ever seen in my life. Okay, and that is a shining example of, in my opinion, of what the black community needs to see. Like Ben Carson, okay, and Tim Scott came up with some kind of new legislation for law enforcement, and the Democrats wouldn't even work with him.
That is what's like.
And he's so well spoken. Look up Tim Scott.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, I know that, but you guys,
the folks in the mic,
y'all.
But so yeah, point being with all that unpacking is that when it comes to censorship, it's vital, and I don't think that, of course, in my opinion, fuck the DNC. Like, I'm not voting for Biden at this juncture.
They've shown
at this juncture, the president and JoJo, it's still up for sale, or not sale, but because you're not giving me anything, but you can earn my vote still at this point in the game.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to the notion of like the First Amendment and being a constitutionalist, Trump dominates that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he
Dominates it.
He's all about free speech. That's for damn sure.
He's an asshole. He's a douchebag. He's probably got a shady fucking past because all politicians are folks that, let me rephrase, all folks that are in politics have to have dirty hands.
Yeah.
Because how else can you get to the level of gangster where you can compete with them, as we were talking about before? Like
they're the biggest gangsters in the
because they can just whack you, they can just off you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you have to be able to have that kind of fuck you money.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. You ever seen American Hustle?
That title sounds really familiar.
It's really good. It's Christian Bale plays a con man.
Oh yeah.
He becomes friends with the governor of New Jersey, and the guy. It's a true story. And the guy from New Jersey starts doing business, but he's doing business with mafiosos and stuff like that.
Isn't Bradley Cooper?
No, it's Bradley Cooper, but it's what's his name? Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner plays the governor. Yeah, thank you. Jeremy Renner plays the governor of. It's set in like the '80s, but he ends up going to jail because you watch the movie or whatever. But he was got his hands dirty and he was dealing with like mafiosos and stuff like that because he wanted to rebuild New Jersey. He really cared about it. You know what I mean? And I think Donald Trump is probably running into. He was like. His dad, the real estate, from in Brooklyn and Queens, where Trump's from. He's from Jamaican Queens, but in Manhattan, you're going to run into some shady types that want to invest in your business. You know what I mean? Especially the mob and stuff like that. But Trump's always had good lawyers. I don't know, man. Like I don't know. I talk about God sometimes. I think God's been saving Trump because he's the right man for the right time.
Well, we'll say the next episode that we have, if we don't have like kind of like a theme with it, we can totally talk religion.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But what other bullet point? No new wars, right?
Yeah, no new wars.
So I think there's still wars by proxy that are still absolutely going on.
I think there are different types of wars. Okay, we're not going to fight them with guns and bullets. Some, may happen like that, but I think it's bioweapons and information warfare. Mm-hmm. That's what I think is going on.
I think there's.
I think China's itching to take out the United States.
I think anybody is, because we have pole position over the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're the most powerful country in the world.
For now. I think I hope we stay that way. No, you know what I mean? I'm not a supporter of globalism
if we get back to our roots and we enact conservative policies, like free market trade and trade deals that don't let people suck the jobs out of our country.
I think the economy, we should try to keep that as close to capitalism as we can, and not have any more of this corporatocracy, this corporate bailout. That's our tax money. If your if you have mismanaged your corporation to the point where you need bailout money for something,
that was under Obama.
Yeah, Bush, Obama, Reagan. I mean, Reagan is what brought in a banking cartel.
Trump's helped the farmers because, when you change the entire trade, system that we have, people are always, on Facebook, article after article, Trump, screws the farmers and all that shit. You think there's not going to be some bumps in the road when you're trying to renegotiate trade deals with the 20-year trade deals with China that are very, very complex and difficult, and people have just been bending over America for China.
Right. I talked with my friend Biscuit about this, the large fellow that helped us with the piano. Because he's an agriculturalist. He's got some. I know he's got blueberries this year. I'm not sure what else he's got growing. But I asked him about the I don't know if they're subsidies, farms, whatever the controversy was.
Relief.
Where you had people saying like, look, this is clearly terrible. So I asked him, and he was like, well, he's like, in the short, he's like, it's bad.
Yeah.
He said, but he's like, as far as what it's going to do, he's like, in the long run, he's like, it's really going to help us out.
Yeah.
He said, but for right now, he's like, they're correct, because if they're looking at like this, whatever the short term loss is or whatnot, then it's like, oh fuck, man, that's bad. But a good quote I believe it is from Nipsey Hussle, is sometimes you have to take 2 steps backward to take 10 forward.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's perfectly, yeah.
So, but anywho, the no new wars, and back to this idea of like globalism, right?
Yeah.
So,
let me speak on this, please. Okay. After World War One, okay, all the wealthy bankers in the world, okay, there's a documentary called "Every War Is a Rich Man's Trick," okay. World War One, okay. J.P. Morgan, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds,
Schiffs. Schiff.
Oh, Schiff, really?
Oh, Schiff.
Wow. Oh, Schiff. Oh, bullshit. No bullshit. Anyway,
it's an old American family, aristocracy.
Okay, well they control they when they're making money off of bullets and bandages and cannons and tanks and metal and all the things that they're supplying both sides with. Really, if you want to know the truth, to fight these wars. Once World War One stopped, their money stopped, and they realized that war was good for business. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what I want to say. I had another point, but I couldn't get.
But I agree with you though, in this notion of globalism, right? America was, despite the sins of some of the founding fathers, it's not about that. It's about this idea of our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence. Like these are this trinity of American ideology. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when it was this way to sort of set a boundary, if you will, to sort of stop the notion of imperialism, right? Yeah. And then you have things like Manifest Destiny come along, and then you have Teddy Roosevelt saying we must unite the English-speaking peoples of the world. Yeah. And like the wall symbolizes a stop, an end to American imperialism.
It's a symbol.
It's a symbol.
Yeah.
And Mexico is on board with this symbol.
Yeah.
And like, even if the cartel gets power, guess what? The cartel can take power of a legitimate government whenever that time comes. Yeah, you know what I mean?
They'll have plenty of money to rank
precisely.
Make Mexico great again.
But this no new wars thing, like the biggest problem I have is that like we seem to have just been exacerbating this like throughout the 20th century. Like after World War II, then it's like, all right, well, we need to make sure that doesn't happen again. So we're gonna start watching all these places, and then you go into business with countries, right? Just like I think it was Washington on his exit address was like, oh, by the way, you guys should not get into like treaties with like anybody at all. Like as far as not treaties, alliances. Yeah. It's like we should have no allies at all.
Because that's how wars start.
Exactly.
Because your problems now become my fucking problems.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Tony Soprano or some shit. It's like you got to be careful who you associate with. And
exactly.
If you associate with nobody, then you can you're not obligated to do any of that shit. And countries have been raping us on defense, and people have just been letting it happen. There are people.
I don't think they see the forest for the trees, man.
But no, I think they're intentionally trying to fuck America over. Okay, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, they all have
interests.
Interest and the all these Democrats. Okay, Republicans are obviously about free trade and wealth and growing businesses. No matter what you think about Trump's tax cuts or anything. But the Democrats, they sit there and preach to you all day about how the poor people and the tired masses need all this free shit. And every one of these Democratic politicians goes into politics to make money and look at Hillary Clinton, billions, Barack Obama, probably hundreds of millions now. George, I mean, a lot of them had money. Biden. Oh yeah, Biden.
Biden got rich after leaving office.
Yeah, and Trump. Okay, Trump already has money What the hell do you think he's doing running for president? Fucking playing tiddlywinks? I mean, he's not.
He wanted to change the world in his image, and that's what he's doing.
But his image is golden. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds extremely kiss ass. But I mean, like his brand is straight gold. You know what I mean? And prosperity and winning.
Yeah.
We have a fucking great coach in the White House right now.
I am all about these peace deals that he has been brokering here in the Middle East. Now, again, since World War I, you kind of had Europe and the Wilson administration sort of were like, all right, let's redraw the map. And they redrew Africa and the Middle East and Europe and for what? So they could chop up the pieces of they took the Ottoman Empire.
So they can control. I mean, our government is no better than Russia or China or any. You know what I mean? Some of the things that we've done. I mean, we stole Hawaii. We just stormed it and took it for a strategic placement. You know, against Japan. We've done some terrible things. I mean, slavery. Wiping out the Native Americans. The thing is, that's the past. And it may seem easy for me as a Caucasian, even though I'm not. I mean, I'm Latino.
Truly,
Hispanic,
you ain't a pure what?
No,
man.
I am not. I'm Spanish, Cherokee Indian, Irish, and the Irish people didn't have it very.
They lost their language.
Yeah. I mean,
nobody speaks Gaelic anymore.
There was a time, just like Gangs of New York shows. There was a time when Irish people were no better. I mean, no better. I don't want to say that. Were looked upon as no better.
How dare you? You just said they're no better.
They said, that we're no better than black people or Asian people. That's the way they were treated. So I mean, it is easy for me to say. What was I trying to make it easy for me to say?
Well, here to that is
what I wanted to say
with the founding fathers is that in order to beat the greatest evil of all, whatever these cartels, this cabal is, right? This top of the pyramid, they had to do business with a bunch of bad people.
Yeah.
These bad people believed in people as property, and they wanted to come to America because they could be criminals and exploit it and become incredibly wealthy based on it.
Yeah.
So the founding fathers, not all of them have this principle in it, but they had to work with these people in order to get it done. Only a quarter to a third of the folks living here fought against the biggest army in the world, and they won.
What was it, 7% of the population?
It was about a quarter, 25, to 33%.
Yeah.
Not a lot, though.
Yeah, you talk about God. That's a miracle, fighting back the biggest empire in the world, the British Empire, the British fleet.
So point being is, in order to set up this government, they first had to do that, right? Okay, now what do we do? Okay, well, we're going to keep doing our criminal shit. Well, you have to find a way to defeat that ideology within, the confines of the Constitution, right?
Yeah.
And the confines of the belief of the Declaration of Independence, where you have, that all people have a right to the pursuit of happiness and to be free and to speak, and they are protected against the law and the mob because of the Constitution. So you have to root out all those evil ideologies and these criminals in government over time. So to your point about after World War I and all that, as far as with the Democrats now, what I think is that they see this opportunity to capitalize completely on the notion of globalism succeeding. They're if America falls, then for the most part, globalism's going to win. It's only a matter of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that they bet on this horse, and it didn't win the race.
What do you mean, Hillary?
Well, Hillary's just she's a marketing campaign. Think about it.
But what do you mean they bet on what horse?
Specifically the DNC candidate, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. And you had this asshole game show host that came in was just like, hey, I got a lot of money. I've done a lot of great things. I'm not a nice guy, but I work for you.
Yeah,
and that resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah,
now,
the Democrats are the doctor that, you know, tells you, you know, knows something's fucked up with you and tells you everything's going to be fine. Put your mind at ease. Donald Trump is the doctor that tells you, look, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. This is fucked up. This is what we need to do to fix it. Okay,
Yeah.
Fuck you, pay me, bye. You know what I mean? Like, but he's fucking giving his money away. It's his salary.
But the point to this is like
even better.
he's bringing troops home. I think by the end of the year they're limiting to like something like 2,000 people in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Like my buddy Jesse remarked he thinks it'll create a power vacuum.
I heard holders.
Yeah. But I don't know about that. But I mean I don't think we need to keep being there. I like seeing that like all these nations that used to war with each other are like, hey, what if we do something where you guys all get filthy fucking rich and you don't have to be at war with each other?
That's the piece of the Middle East deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for that to happen, Trump had to take control, and he doesn't have to tell everybody what the fuck he's doing because he's doing the right thing, which is what they have not been doing for 30, 40 years.
Right. However,
and even before.
However, what I do think, though, is I think that if reelected, he's going to go to war with China.
He's not going to go. He's not happy with China. I can tell you that. But I don't think there will be.
If he doesn't declare war, I think that whatever comes after him, like it's going to happen. I do think that.
I think he's going to.
However, the other side of the coin, I think, is that it would be dominated by China and the idea of globalism, and then China, they're not going to care about globalism as long as they make their money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
China.
the CCP, all they're going to do is just like become even more powerful where they're at in the glory of China.
Yeah.
Like it's the G7.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
but
Like everybody, like USA, all these guys, they're all going to set the lineage.
Okay.
And right now, Trump is just in the driver's seat to guide that into like what it can be either keep our country or try globalism.
Keep
right?
our country. Yeah.
So I mean, like I know like a big way from like no new wars, but like that is like the one big critique, and people are like, well, you know, we still have all this money that he gives to Yemen, or not Yemen, excuse me, Saudi against the Yemenis, and Israel against all these other nations.
I'm sure there are very good reasons for those decisions.
Yeah, I'm not a military expert. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
However, I know that if peace deals are being brokered, and if they're pulling troops out and setting, like, they're actually like doing this stuff, these are good things. Like, we should be like building up like our own country. Like, why aren't we using our military to build up our own country into the 21st century?
That's Trump. These are logical things that we're talking about. This is what Trump's all about. The logical things that we're discussing right now. That's Trump's policy. Sense, logic. Okay, you might call it isolationism. You know what I mean? But why the hell should we have to, you know, pay for everybody else's shit? Why can't we be? What I was going to say is, if Trump keeps taxes low and creates jobs, and makes us energy independent, then China is not going to be having such a fucking day at the beach. We're China's number one. I mean, we're the second. They're the second largest economy in the world.
Right.
But if we make deals with India and, you know, to have things made elsewhere, this coronavirus, it was all kind of a blessing in disguise, because it let us know how unprepared we were for, you know, all the medicine we need. It all comes from China. You know what I mean? Ventilators, the masks, it all comes from China. Like, Trump is not happy with China for what they did, and they did do it. They let it loose.
Well, what's the one we got? Actually, let's do this, because I gotta take a mad pee.
Okay.
So you want to take a quick pause?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right,
That's fine. Next bullet point I had is the pedogate stuff.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so the QAnon, pedogate, all this stuff. So we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah.
About the it's not a debate. What was it? Town hall.
Yeah.
And there was a meme where it shows whatever the journalist, quote unquote, anchor, whatever their name was, like screaming, like, and it said like say the satanic pedophile cult doesn't exist. Say it. And what is
who is this?
whoever, it's a still shot from
a meme. Okay,
a meme. But anyway, the like there is stuff with that, like as far as like the stuff in the QAnon conspiracy theory having some truth to it, i.e. I would have never have known about who Jeff Epstein was if it had not had been for like Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo talking about this QAnon conspiracy a few years ago.
It's reached critical mass.
Yeah,
There's thousands. There might be millions of people that pay attention to QAnon. QAnon is not a hoax. It's everything.
The problem with it.
They have a code, and it sounds kind of kooky, but they have a certain code where you take the numbers and you take the letters in the alphabet of those numbers and you put them together, and it tells you something like D class. And that's what
they called it. The Q calendar was like an event that's laid out that triggers other events based on like numbers and dates.
Yeah, it's almost eerie how correct it is.
Yeah, so folks that are into like was it a gematria and stuff like that, like it's a really cool offset as far as like that type of conspiracy, right? As far as the number codes and the letter codes and all this stuff. But there's like this, there is stuff in there that is true. I think the problem with it is that you have folks that, as we were kind of touched on earlier, that aren't really into conspiracies or any type of critical thinking like that, and next thing they hear is that Jon Stewart is eating babies and raping kids with Stephen Colbert. Now you know what I mean? Like they'll just Are
you saying that's an actual story you heard?
No. I'm just saying. I'm just choosing those two pundits. Colbert, I think, was on. I don't think Jon Stewart was mentioned, but like that's the problem with it, is when you have these unsubstantiated claims. The Tom Hanks connection, there's a fucking connection there. There's a guy named Mouthy Buddha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
For a second.
Have a spittoon there.
Yeah. But Mouthy Buddha, you probably won't be able to find the film on YouTube if you search through YouTube. But if you go, say, like DuckDuckGo or one of the other alternative browsers, it'll present you with different search results, and you can change the area that you want to search in. But Mouthy Buddha made a series called Pedogate 2020.
Yep.
And
found it on YouTube.
He started off by talking about he wanted to debunk some of this Pizzagate and QAnon stuff because he thought it was ridiculous.
Yep.
And he ended up discovering a lot more than he thought he had, and ended up changing his mind completely on it. So in the second part, it's Pedogate 2020, Tom Hanks. Hanx, if you want to know how to spell it, just for legal purposes, they have to spell it Hanx. But it's kind of weird because that's also how he'll sign his name. You know what I mean? Like, and ties with the dark magic rituals of using your name, as opposed to letting your name be something holy that you use.
What do you mean?
Like you can use like names and like sacrifices and things like that, and rituals.
Names for what?
Like a name is a symbol. It's, you know what I mean. Like it's how you can identify yourself. Think of like Eminem. Like that's not Marshall. Eminem is something else. Marilyn Manson. That's not Brian Warner. It's something else. You can use a name or something like that to make power. But I'm just saying, like, that's that's neither here nor there. But the Mouthy Buddha, Pedogate Part 2, what it shows is that it's related to Isaac Cappy,
Yep.
and Sarah Ruth Ashcroft.
Mm-hmm.
These are two folks in Hollywood that separately tie in Hanks to this pedogate stuff, this pedophile club that we seem to see Donald Trump rounding up. He's rounded up more pedophiles, child pornographers, human sex traffickers in the past 4 years than the past 3 presidents did in 24 years.
Yeah.
And there's allegedly that, this notion of like Weinstein and Epstein.
And he never talks about it.
Yeah, and Weinstein and Epstein, these two guys that they're connected with Hollywood and approved scientists. Lawrence Krauss was allegedly on Epstein's flight log as well.
I don't doubt it.
But they use these celebrities as symbols in order to influence people and change minds. And clearly, we know that Harvey Weinstein was like a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
He was a rapist for
Yeah.
40 years.
And it was just continued. And how does it work? Well, you can get human traffickers like in this like sex ring industry, child pornographers, like all of this what used to be called dark web stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it does exist. It's not some conspiracy. But then whenever you have something like Tom Hanks, like they took this guy Mouthy Buddha took his Instagram posts, and on one post in particular of a glove, which is just kind of odd and weird.
Well, he has a fetish for one glove picture, so he's
Or like one shoe.
Yeah, I hope whoever's wearing the other one is okay, and like creepy shit like
Yeah,
that.
weird.
But it's not just one post. It's a hobby to like find like one of a shoe or one of a glove like.
Yeah, he's got a motif.
But Isaac Cappy was a friend of Seth Green, who a Robot Chicken, Can't Hardly Wait, redheaded Seth Green, and he said that he was. I mean, they were very good friends, and he was over for dinner at Seth Green's, and he went over to this like secret like shelf that opened up, and he's like. Yeah, it's like a panic room or whatever, but he's like said it creepily like, this is where we keep the children.
Yeah.
And he was like, he laughed it off, like Isaac laughed it off and went about his business. And then soon after that, Seth Green came to him and he's like, man, we need to have a conversation about chicken. And chicken is pedo language for a little girl. Or it's a little girl.
I think it's a little boy.
Little boy. Or a chicken is just a child, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
or child porn, something like that. I don't know.
Chicken.
You can look up the code.
He basically Seth Green. I mean, the character Chris on Family Guy. I can't watch Family Guy anymore because I hear Seth Green's fucking voice. Okay, it's fucked up, man. And Isaac Cappy was thrown off. Was supposedly killed himself. He said that Tom Hanks was a pedophile. Steven Spielberg is a pedophile. And he did these like Instagram posts or whatever, and said he's like, I'm not suicidal. He's like I wish I could go back and not do what I just did because I'm in trouble. And he said he got a text message that said you have no idea what you're getting into. He's like picture Arrival meets Enemy of the State. Arrival is about aliens. And Enemy of the State is that Will Smith movie where he's got information and he's running from
Gene Hackman.
Yeah. So he said think Arrival and Enemy of the State, and like that's some creepy shit.
Yeah.
And Isaac Cappy, Tom Hanks put this Instagram post. He was like this roadkill on a historic Route 66, and he's like, roadkill? Hope not. And it was just like dead animal, and he was like it was Route 66, and shortly after, Isaac Cappy supposedly jumped off the bridge and landed on Route 66 and was run over. Funnily enough, the guy that ran him over, his first name was Forrest. So that's the universe talking kinda.
There was one. I forget the actress name. I don't know if you knew this. But she had posted after he died his Instagram and her Twitter. Her Twitter got taken down, but it was a supposed suicide note I don't think it was a suicide note. I think it was a goodbye note, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're gonna get me.
Yeah, and if they're gonna spin it as a suicide, I would rather like them like, okay, at least I'll have a note then. But it mentioned an apology to President Trump and this Q movement that was going on, and like
Because he might have fucked up something for them.
no, what I think it was is that he probably partook in some of the stuff.
I think so too.
And I think
you
he
said-
had a guilty conscience.
He did have a guilty
and
conscience.
He became their Judas, if you will.
Yeah, see, they'll take famous people just like Epstein would record people, powerful men having sex with underage girls.
Everyone has a weakness.
They'll if you want to be part of the cabal and know all the secrets of the universe or whatever the fuck, like drinking baby blood, they make you do things like have sex with children. And or have gay sex or something like that, or
Whatever they can compromise you with.
sacrifice a child or whatever, and take part and be there and be on camera, so they have dirt on you. They're like, now we're on the same playing field. You know what I mean? You out us, we'll out you or kill you.
Yeah.
And that happens. And I think that he did. I think he did something very terrible because he looked very conflicted and he was like, I'm not suicidal. He's like, I did something so stupid. And he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, something that can save my soul or whatever. Like,
There's something else he talked about. I think it may have been that same night before. The video he did in front of the wood panel, where he's talking. I think it may have been that same night, so like the night before. But he said that he was driving with his girlfriend in the car.
Oh yeah.
And Phil Collins in the Air Tonight started playing, but not through the car, but in both of their minds.
Yeah. Okay. I heard this story.
The voice of God, technology.
I heard this story from a guy that worked on a military base, and he said DARPA, the research shit, deep research shit, came on the military base, and they started feeling like frequencies beamed into their head, like radio stations or whatever, songs and communiques and whatever, beamed directly in their head because they were in the vicinity of this DARPA experiment, and they have that technology. And the story goes that they were constantly playing In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins in his head. I can feel it coming in the air tonight, and that's what he was like constantly hearing in his head. Like they were just beaming that shit into his brain.
Yeah. His girlfriend said that she was hearing it as well.
Yeah.
It was like, that's bizarre shit. Yeah. But that whole post got taken down pretty quickly. Like, it was like the account it was under. It was
his.
No, this was under like one of his friends in the acting community. She was. I don't want to say Telemundo because I don't know, but I mean, she was not in anything I knew. You know what I mean? And her post was in Spanish, but like it was on this thread like that was going on for a while. That like he had his note wasn't in Spanish. You know what I mean? But like what she was talking about was. But anywho, I think there's more truth to it than people are comfortable with dealing with.
People are not comfortable with that. That's why all this stuff, it sounds kooky, okay, that all these arrests might be happening behind the scenes. Like Tom Hanks is arrested, Ellen DeGeneres is arrested, like Oprah's best friend, or her chummy John of God.
Oh yeah, what an upstanding piece of shit that guy is.
John of God was a cult leader that raped hundreds of women and then sold his babies on the black market for organs, for parents, whatever. And
highest bidder.
Like
people as property.
Yeah, like Cruster off of Game of Thrones. He's just having sex with his daughters and shit, like crazy shit. And that's one of Oprah's best friends. And when he got arrested, the story got totally buried. Oprah's high up in that shit, and that's insane. Look how young she looks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
for her age.
I think what may be a possibility. I think they may have found a way to synthesize adrenochrome, right?
Yeah.
But probably like the same way as I don't know if anybody's ever done cocaine before, but if you have pure cocaine.
Yeah.
it's a different feeling than if you have something that is, say, diluted heavily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't, just for the record, I don't recommend it. Like, if somebody offers it to you and you're in a bathroom in Philadelphia and you just say YOLO bitches, then I mean, maybe, but like I'm not endorsing that at all. But I think that maybe that's a possibility, is that what this used to be some like sacred secret of like dark arts was that you could like, because these are if you think about it, these are the same folks.
Abuse a child, take their blood, eat their pineal gland, and the adrenalized blood of very, very abused and scared and children. Like, they use cattle prods and shit. Like, David Icke swears that George H.W. Bush was a massive pedophile and used cattle prods to torture children.
Yeah.
And it's like a power thing, and they get plugged into the millions. I personally happen to think that it's linked to demons. Or something like that. Aleister Crowley said, today you call them aliens, yesterday they called them demons, tomorrow they'll call them something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We only see a very short, the small sliver of the pie of reality, and that's visible light. That's where our five senses are. So if you think there's not something, you think we're at the top of the food chain, whatever. Okay, that's scary shit to talk about, so we'll get back to, eating baby blood. The practice. Mel Gibson said in a quote, like when he was on his anti-Jew rant or whatever, and they ostracized.
Bad optics, Mel.
Yeah. And he was all out of the scene for a while. He started, saying a lot of stuff, and saying a lot of stuff. And he said that every Hollywood studio is paid for with the blood of innocent children. He's like it's a real thing. They drink baby blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Hanks that shook me up was that, aside from Cappy and Sarah Ruth Ashcroft, she said that her father sold her to Hanks when she was 13 or 14.
Yeah, as a sex slave.
Yeah.
As a desensitized sex doll.
Right. But back to the Instagram, there was one photo in particular that had a code on it. It was like a USC something or other. It was like 5-character code. It was in a photograph.
Oh yeah, but like they were on a ship.
And yeah, like whenever
it was military.
No, this was if you couldn't find it on Google.
Yeah.
You couldn't find it on.
Talking about Tom Hanks' picture.
No, you couldn't find it on Bing. But if you went to this Russian search engine, Yandex.
Yeah.
And this guy prefaced it by saying, "Do not do this."
SRC.
That's
USA,
it.
SRC USA.
SRC
yeah,
USA.
And it'll lead you to pictures of little girls and
a pedophile network.
Yeah.
Like they use this.
And it's in one of Tom Hanks' posts. There's a glove, and then it says on the asphalt scraped in or spray painted. It says SRC USA, and that's what I'm talking about. That's like a calling card. They put like the spiral pizza sign, like the symbology.
That one is legit. The FBI confirmed the symbology on that.
They put subliminal, not really subliminal messages in there, but pedophile code to communicate with each other, to let them know, like, oh
yeah, these are ancient cultures,
yeah.
and like much older than America. And if you think about it, the only way you could possibly have any hope to bring about that kind of change would be like, okay, we have to find another billionaire that can't be bought and sold by these people.
I know of one.
In order to use the law to bring these people to justice. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we have to take some baby steps with this, but that is like something you have to have is somebody that is not easily compromised. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as far as like rounding up the pedophiles and the sex traffickers, even if you look past that tangible data, you can go to like Google Docs. There's a particular one that You can look and see every arrest record, every news story. That like it's a community that has formed that is strongly anti-pedophilia.
Yeah.
I myself am strongly against pedophilia and this notion.
I'm on the fence. No, I'm just kidding. No, I fucking loathe pedophilia with all that is good in this world in my soul. I fucking hate it because it's Satan taking God's creation and inverting it upside down. That's why they do it. It's because it's a middle finger to God.
It's evil.
And it's satanic.
Yeah. And if you think about it literally, because it's adversarial, and that's what Satan is. It's a title, right?
Yeah.
Adversary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an adversarial act of creating life and love.
Yeah.
You know, but with this whole thing, like, it has created another aspect of the culture war, which has, if it comes down to it, and it's like, you're telling me that this conspiracy that has all of this tangible data of child sex trafficking rings and child prostitution rings that are elsewhere, that again they're trying to bring that culture further into America.
Trying to normalize pedophilia.
Exactly.
With cuties on Netflix.
I cancel my Netflix.
I didn't because I love fucking Peaky Blinders and all that other shit that's on there. I just don't watch cuties. I saw some clips from it today on a video from the guy talking about he's whatever he's talking about how it's a disgusting thing or whatever. But I saw some footage from it and they were like popping and twerking and shit. I was like, oh my god, it's everything that everyone feared. Like,
well, and even the cinematography on those shots, you know what I mean?
It's like
they had to subject
zeroed in on their crotch and stuff.
They had to subject these kids to child sexualization in order to tell a story of child sexualization. I get that, like the artistic aim as far as like that logical argument with it, right? As far as like the intent of it, but they had something like, I think it was 600 girls auditioned for this.
Yeah.
What were they doing for the audition for like these roles? You know what I mean? Like it seems like, and I think I've used it before on the show, but like it seems like coming in and like an intruder bursting in at Thanksgiving and shooting a loved one and then telling everybody, now don't break in and murder people. It's bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like completely paradoxical logical thinking. The silver side of QAnon is that while there is a fair amount of, well, I guess you would call like soccer moms who are just like I had no idea that all this was going on. It's like, all right, you just sort of found out about conspiracies, and this is not the right one to introduce you to.
Yeah.
Because like there's like, this is like,
you'll get turned off quick because it's
or you'll become
and it is,
radicalized by it.
And it is not totally, not everything is completely confirmed, but so much shit is confirmed,
right?
And it lines up with QAnon drops that it has merit. It has to be real. I'm not talking about a little bit of it, most of it, like the vast, like 90% of it.
Yeah, the JFK Jr. aspect of it, I don't buy it.
I don't know, man. If you watch that video and you see his wife, who's supposed to be his wife, like, she's old. She looks like that woman that aged that long. She has a very distinct nose and blonde hair, and it's got this guy named Anton Fusca or whatever. But I don't know. That would be the biggest. You know that JFK Jr.'s, they never found the bodies in the plane crash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a possibility they may have also faked his death.
Exactly. They killed his dad. They killed his uncle. Okay, and he was a very good-looking, intelligent, up-and-coming star. Like he was running for the Senate against Hillary Clinton when it fucking happened. And he called his magazine George. He's like telling everyone like who killed his dad.
Talked about in George. He talked about the Clinton body count. Yeah. Like that's like I don't know if that's where the hashtag or trend started from.
Talked about that.
Yeah, whoa. In George magazine.
Holy shit!
It was one of the later ones. I think it was in 2000 or 99.
Maybe he found out. He was like, I need to get out of here because they're gonna fucking kill me.
And that's a possibility. It's also a possibility that dude's just dead. You know what I mean? That aspect I have not been like. I don't see anything tangible with it. Same thing with like the kids in tunnels thing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything tangible with it.
Yeah. You mean like how they took him to the USS Comfort or whatever?
As far as rescuing kids, I've seen that, but like this Hollywood dramatization aspect of it, I haven't seen that. What I have seen is the stuff about Epstein Island, and this this pedophile ring.
And there's videos of John Podesta on those laptops and neon body paint for a black light, and it's just it's a little weird. Like, I don't go to parties like that at a children's ping pong, family ping pong place, and get naked and paint my body with neon shit. It looks like some fucking kind of rituals about it.
That just also coincidentally has all this iconography and language that the WikiLeaks jargon points to being pedophile related. Absolutely. And is also doused in art that is pedophilic and child torturous and nightmarish, uncomfortable in nature. Not to also mention that in that same plaza, there's like Buck's Hunting Supplies and another pizza store, Besta's Pizza, was down at same plaza as well. It's a triangular plaza, right? And
your slice of pizza.
That they have a symbology of that. The FBI confirms. No. This the FBI has not confirmed the cheese and the walnut sauce and all this code.
There's major pedophile lingo.
But the triangle symbol, they have confirmed. The butterfly nested in a butterfly, they have confirmed. The scribble within a scribble, they've confirmed this. Like that these are in fact, these symbols from this ancient culture.
That's crazy.
So what I have seen, so what I see though, as far as taking all that in, and considering the election, right, which is what we're talking about.
Yep.
Biden seems to be a part of this. Now again, fuck the DNC, you slave-owning sons of bitches.
Yeah.
I'm not about it. Not about it at all. But he's nonetheless, this is establishment. If I remove even my personal bias from it and just look at trying to apply all of the sex trafficking ring and all of the stuff that was with the WikiLeaks document, anything that QAnon theory touches, which people just regard as nonsensical because they don't want to look into it.
I'm growing tired of the word conspiracy.
It's just going to be used as a slight towards people that are
dismissive.
Skeptical. You would think that folks that are classical skepticals, that they're agnostic or atheistic, that they would have an open mind, and there's a fair amount of folks that don't. But Biden and the Clintons and the Bushes and the Obamas, all of these families, they seem to be connected to this dynasty that is in bed with these sex trafficking rings. As far as Trump goes, and going back with the Epstein stuff, and what it seems like is that he and his ex-wife were friends, and then they found out that what they're into isn't just swinger orgies and vacations, that what was going on the island was also dark stuff. You know what I mean?
With young girls, underage, 12-year-old girls and shit. They had planes and boats that would bring girls from Europe and stuff.
They found human remains outside underwater.
Dios mío.
Outside the water in the islands. If you look, I believe Biden also has an island in that archipelago of island chains down there.
The Mayan Indians, the shamans or whatever, or the Aztecs, they used to sacrifice people. They sacrificed people and pulled their heart out, and they did it because the snake gods, need to be satiated. You know what I mean? Their thirst needed to be quenched for their society to keep going, and that's what kept them in power. It's almost like a trade-off. It's sacrificing a lamb to God. You know what I mean? But it's sick. You know what I mean? It's a human being. It's a child. It's sick.
Well, as far as that argument used against Trump, it doesn't make sense to me. If he is a part of it, then why would we even know about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that we would know about this.
At the other, I don't know if I already said this, but the Trump town hall, the middle debate or whatever, if if QAnon is such a kook, thing, and it has no validity, why are they so afraid of it? Okay, why? And then they asked Trump. They were like, "We want you to denounce QAnon." He's like, "I know nothing about QAnon."
Yeah, he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Yeah, but God damn it. Yeah, but if it's such malarkey, and has no grounding in reality, why I mean, never mind. I just kind of made the wrong argument, but yeah, save the children. Okay, that hashtag.
I mean, why would they be trying to suppress it? Like they're
exactly
they're censoring QAnon stuff. YouTube purged channels, even ones that were not QAnon channel, like Edge of Wonder.
Yeah.
Edge of Wonder's not a QAnon. They were like family-friendly conspiracy channel.
Yeah, they're like the nerds that I don't know, want to hang out with. I don't know, whatever.
I'd hang out with those dudes.
I'd hang out with them for sure. Yeah, they're like the Illumid donkey. But damn, what was I gonna say? Yeah, if it's so the hashtag Save the Children. Okay, you got hashtags Black Lives Matter, hashtag Antifa, hashtag not my president. Defund the police, pigs in the bacon,
ACAB.
Yeah, and not one of these celebrities has posted. There's thousands of people marching in Hollywood saying "Save our children, stop drinking adrenochrome," stop murdering babies, and not one person has said, "I support Save the Children."
Yeah.
Yeah.
They even started marking stuff like that as like false news or misleading. Like the hashtag, they even hid "Save the Children" on Facebook, like a hashtag, because they said that there's damning stuff with this hashtag. So like I don't want to filter for that. You know what I mean? So it goes back to the original point we were talking about like censorship.
Yeah.
Like nah. So with this idea, like as far as the human trafficking and whatnot, I think that's one of the best things that Donald Trump has done.
The economy is his side hustle. He's putting them away by the droves. I mean, hundreds of thousands of operations going on.
Here's something folks may not know, but ICE, right? Immigration Customs Enforcement. Aside from just this, immigration aspect and like border patrol inside the border, they're also responsible for rounding up all these human traffickers and these child pornographers. Like it's a joint effort of multiple governmental agencies.
Well, I mean, think about when someone like Trump comes in and he says he gives them the funding, and then think about coyotes coming in from the southern border, okay, and they find this sex trafficking ring, and then they ask that person about it, and he snitches on something going on in California, and then it comes to goes up bigger and bigger, and like they found 40 kids in Georgia in the trailer. Yeah, 40. They found 40 missing children, and why is that not major news? Because there's something going on with these famous people and children. And they don't want to talk about it. They don't want it to be. They want to normalize pedophilia. They don't want to hear about all the children being saved.
I think I think it's Hollywood's dark secret.
Oh my God!
Hollywood has permeated so much of our culture, right? Like, especially us. We were children in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were born into it, and yet we knew the world before the internet. We knew the world before the internet as children, Yeah. So we have a very unique perspective of our generation that a lot of other generations are not going to have. We're the last breed of of an old way of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The same way that folks that could remember not having electricity in their town, like 100+ years ago.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Damn, I forgot why I brought that up. I'm sure it wasn't that poignant.
Yeah.
But fuck. Anywho, but
pretty anticlimactic. No, I'm sure you got a great point because me too. I'm having I got this list of shit over here like going on every tangent we can. I love it, but I don't know. I want to give you some more reasons for the case for Trump.
All right, hang on.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second. Okay, sorry. So what else? What we got next on there?
All right. Restoration of our military and taking care of the VA.
I know that
our military was very depleted when Obama left office, and his accomplishments go on and on. I mean, like
with the military, I do like seeing. How did he word it? He said that the military doesn't like me. The soldiers love me. He's like, but he's like the guys at the Pentagon. He's like, they're not too fond of me.
No, because they're part of the deep state. They're part of the people who dug in.
Same Rockefeller from the 20th century.
The CIA is going crazy. They're all these people that profit from war, and they're all connected. Want there to be war, and Trump's like, no, there's not going to be any more war. We're going to have peace. We're going to have prosperity for everybody. Like, he's the fucking man. But
he's not a politician.
No, he always keeps his game face on. You know what I mean? He
kind of. If you look back at the
last night,
he's gotten better since being president. If you look at like some of the stuff going on
he's starting to show himself a little more. You know what I mean? He's like, like when he's like, they're like, we love you, we love you, we love you, and he's just like, no president I don't know any president who's ever heard that chant. And he's like, I love you too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and he's starting to be cool, and like, he I don't know, it's great. But he's kept so many promises. It's ridiculous. And we finally get a president who keeps his promises. No war, peace, like the most hippie, world peace president ever. And people loathe this man.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Well, because I don't think they can separate the person from the policies. You know what I mean?
No, they can't.
Then that's not. Some people like that is very important to them, and I respect their worldview. That's how they view it.
It shows a lack of intelligence, man.
I don't know about intelligence, maybe open-mindedness.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Which is what I would call, but whatever.
I'm trying to be polite.
I am. Fuck all you stupid motherfuckers.
Let me tell you about stupid fucks.
You ain't voting for Trump, you a dumb son of a bitch. All right, but
honestly, as I told my friend Tyler on our political episode, Mike, I don't give a shit who you vote for because that's your decision.
Yeah.
And no matter who you vote for, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna want you back on this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so, I don't think we should have this notion of if you don't vote like I do, that means that you are morally elsewhere, or you just don't get it. Well, if you calm down and you just sort of have a conversation as far as like, okay, well, what don't you like about like politics or politicians? Or what do you like? You try to see where common ground is.
Yeah, 2 or 3 people can do that. You know what I mean? Like, and then you can talk to a person.
Can't do it with a congregation.
Just like he says in Men in Black, he's like a person is understanding. Logical. He's like people are chaotic. You're right.
Irrational and scared.
Irrational and scared. Yeah. From Tommy Lee Jones or whatever, but it's just true. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. People are communicating like crazy. The word is getting out. If you can, like, I've learned to be a little more artful or with the way that I word things on Facebook, and I'm still a little snarky sometimes, but I always try to. I just want people. I'd rather you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But there's also some people that no matter what you say.
But I used to be that guy that was like fuck this, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to watch my language too. I talk like a sailor.
I've been trying to do the same as well. I don't think I've gotten there with the F word yet.
Yeah. I use fucking like it's the word and I'm like fucking
yeah, I'm totally guilty of that. Totally guilty of that.
Fucking.
I'll have all this eloquence planned out in my head and fucking
these
words will just fucking.
These podcasts made me realize that, and I'm like, damn, like I really curse a lot.
I'm telling you, man, like your episodes have garnered good traction. From the 2 times you've been on here. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm actually a nice guy, people. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
for anybody who knows me, or most people who know me know who I am. I'll give you the shirt off my back.
Think always about like if you survive another 10 years, right? Or let alone 20 years, right? So like whether I survive or not, like tomorrow's going to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would much rather keep producing something and like contributing like something to society to make the world a better place somehow.
Yeah.
And like with a podcast, it's a really therapeutic thing.
I've never been into politics. When I was a kid, fuck George Bush and the Iraq War, which I was right. But I didn't know anything about politics.
Yeah, you just happened to be right.
I was listening to Rage Against the Machine, just wearing Che Guevara t-shirts and shit, and Bob Marley with my dreadlocks and skateboard and shit. I didn't know shit. But now, ever since Trump comes along, he's such a he's grabbed my attention, man. I think it's a phenomenon, and his very presence shines a light on all the shit going on in Washington and in DC, and in Hollywood and everywhere else. Like everyone, what you say about me says more about you than it does about me. You know what I mean? But how people react to the things the good things that he's done and the way they act, you can see through people. You can see the celebrities, saying all this stuff about Trump. It's like, this guy doesn't need the money. He's restored our military. He's brought back jobs. He didn't invent the coronavirus. Like, what's your beef with this guy? You know what I mean? I don't know. I think some people don't have a sense of humor, because if you don't have a sense of humor, you can't.
He's the first stand-up comedian that's the president.
Dude, he is. If Christopher Walken ran for president, that's Trump. No shit.
That's good.
Yeah, it's
that's
fucking good. It's true. Look. Okay, I don't know everything. Okay?
It comes from China.
It's tremendous. Okay, so it's just wild. Fuck it. It's my Christopher Walken impression.
We built a wall.
Yeah. We're building a wall. Okay.
This wall.
Yeah.
This wall is 400 miles. Your daddy.
And,
he poured the concrete that went into the palace for the steel. The wall.
I watched Pulp Fiction the other night.
That's so good, man. It's so fucking good. But the coronavirus handling of it. One, I'd like to see anybody come up with something where they say they handled it perfectly. Yeah. Any location. What I see is that a lot of places handle things poorly.
Yeah, mostly
Democratic. And the rest of the places seem to have to manage it. Yeah. It is scary because just a lot of people dying this year, man.
Yeah.
Just is.
2016 was insane. They were the dude danced up out of the crowd, shot somebody in the head, and then he had dreadlocks. He was a black dude, which doesn't really matter, but that's when mob rule comes along.
I'm not about mob rule
When mob rule takes over, all you people who are worried about virtue signaling and identity politics, when mob rule takes over, and blacks or Mexicans or any a 1,000 white kids screaming Black Lives Matter come down the street, you may not be safe. They're not going to remember all the tolerant nice things you said on Facebook.
Yeah.
You might want to think about things calming down. It's a powder keg.
Yeah, but with the coronavirus and COVID-19 and all this, Trump had he had an open invitation to just declare medical martial law and move in and just forcibly keep people in their homes, and instead he left it open to the governors,
to the states
to run it.
You can't do better than that. You can't do that.
That's how it needed to be done.
Yeah.
This is an election year. This is something like this. This is a new kind of warfare. You know what I mean?
I totally believe that China released this on the world just to fuck the economy up and make Trump look bad. I think the deep state. I think coronavirus was their last ditch effort, and they thought it was going to kill millions of people, and that's sick and twisted and demented. But these people will do a lot of sick things. But that's my theory. Okay, I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe that the best year that we've had in decades and the Dow was up 20,000. You know what I mean? Like all this beautiful. And he said that Trump said Democrats were coming to him like, maybe it's time we, cut the shit and start doing some bipartisan work. And then COVID happened, and they jumped on that. And it was like, oh, Trump's handling COVID terribly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So
choose your side. It's like, fuck, man. They wanted everybody to go ahead and vote now just to get him out of power, is what it seems like.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any plan except they claim and then don't claim and then shuffle about stuff from the Green New Deal, which I think they're just using to just market to just progressives. They're not like offering any solutions with it. The Green New Deal, when you start looking at some of the stuff that's in there, it doesn't seem like a wise solution. What it seems like is folks using this notion of environmentalism in order to get money, in order to capitalize.
Yeah, it's
on we're currently in
taxation is always involved.
We're currently going into this grand solar minimum, right? Mm-hmm. Where we just exited the grand solar maximum. So they're anticipating about, I know I use theirs like loosely, I know some assholes over there going, who's they? One of the things they say is that it's going to get, over the next 80 to 100 years, it's going to start getting really cold.
Yeah.
Like not immediately, but that's going into the 21st century. Like we're not going to see what they're planning to do. So what they're doing is they're trying to capitalize on this market now, right? While it's still believable. The Paris Climate Accord, of course, climate change is real. Let me get that out of the way because it changes every year.
I have something to say about it too.
But they're the Paris Climate Accord that Trump got us out of, right? Mm-hmm. It's the Paris Climate Accord just allowed countries to pay more money to get carbon credits in order to pollute more. It does not reduce pollution. And folks like the Gores, the Bushes, the Obamas, the Clintons, all these cats had already bought carbon credits. They invested at the ground floor of this scheme of the Paris Climate Accord to get money. It does not reduce emissions. So that's what we want to do, right? We want to make the earth cleaner.
Yeah.
Trump, for all of his assholishness in that aspect of it, he's not eloquent. So when they ask him about climate change, he's gonna be like, "Look, I want the cleanest water. I want the best air. We never had this before."
What he says about forest management is a good point. Because if they would manage their forests, they'd have a way less of a monster to battle. You know what I mean? And he said he'd give them the funding, but
there was something similar to that in Australia.
Also, sorry.
Yeah, you had a point. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, don't let it happen again.
You're not my real dad. You can't tell me what to do. This marriage is over.
Oh, okay. All right. You'll be back, baby. Anyways, when they get China to participate, their anti-pollution, Green New Deal shit, then I might start looking at climate change and the Green New Deal and all that shit. Until the day that they get China to participate, they are the biggest polluter in the world.
Yeah, and then
nobody's telling
India
them, nobody's regulating. They don't have zero regulations, and they're really, they're terrible. The Chinese are terrible.
As far as the way they govern the country.
Just terrible. Just Chinese people in there. No, I'm just kidding. No, the Chinese Communist government. The Chinese Communist government is terrible.
Right. Well, even at that, even if they did participate in the Paris Climate Accord, the CCP, right? Mm-hmm. It still wouldn't reduce their emissions. All they would do is they just pay to pollute more. It doesn't hold them accountable for dumping in our ocean or the Save Our Seas Act. It was one of the earlier pieces of legislation that Trump signed. I think it was in 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Whenever that came out, and one of my left-leaning friends shared it, was like good Trump. I was like, yeah, totally, man. Like some of his executive orders quite progressive.
Yeah.
You know, some of the stuff he signs quite progressive.
But logical, not restraining every, you know.
It doesn't succumb to ideology other than the Constitution and American ideology.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's, you know, rolling back regulations so we can get some fucking jobs in this country and people can stay out of jail and, you know, become wealthy and have a family.
Everybody wants to become wealthy. Everybody wants the American dream to be millionaires. I want everybody to rise up and become a millionaire, right? And like what we consider a millionaire. I want everybody like in America that like participates in this country to earn their way and to get to that status of where like we have the best life and the best country we possibly can have.
Well,
but I don't want the government forcing everybody to have that.
Having their hand in every aspect of your life.
Yeah, because then it just creates, okay, everybody gets the same and we get a little bit different, you know?
They want equality of outcome. Or no, they want equality of outcome instead of equality of opportunity.
Right.
And or they is the left. And that will destroy our country. The survival of the fittest. I've said it tons of times. So you can't. I mean, it's a nice thought. You know, everyone's millionaires, but you know, we have a lower class, the lower middle class, the upper middle class, and then we have the rich, and we have the super rich. America works because you can come into this country, pull up your bootstraps, get a job, get a family, get a wife, start saving money, start a business, you know, invest, and become middle class. From middle class, expand, become upper class. That's how America is supposed to work. And if we weren't distracted by fucking WAP and fucking booty videos and fucking bullshit, then our classic values, you know, like focus on education. Do you think they couldn't fix the education in this country? You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. I don't know.
That is something on Trump's 2021 or like second term agenda, I guess. School choice, public school choice.
Yeah.
That is so awesome because that means that you now compete, right? And you have the option.
Yeah.
So all this stuff that was set up back in the day from like where they was it gerrymandering, anywhere where they try to use people as a commodity to tell people what to do, right? We have to look at things that we can change with every president. It's like, okay, what can we change that is sort of like holding us back so that we can really launch forward?
Yeah.
And what I don't think it is like, okay, we need to raise some taxes. And we need to, because we need to tax the super wealthy. It's like
we need
to make taxes as low as humanly possible
right now. Yeah, we need to give people.
You want these super wealthy to invest in America as a corporation.
Yeah.
We are a country, right? But we are also a corporation.
The Democrats are so fucked right now, man. They're just anti-Trump thing, and like all that's going on is because he wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's the best president he's going to go down as one of the greats, man. Like, because after
He's going to go down as one of the most polarizing.
Dude,
sure.
The implications of just what he's done already, opening up, businesses and his Supreme Court picks, his signature is on history now, man. Like he's put his stamp.
Shoot. Let me ask you this. I've been wanted to ask you this for a while now. This 2+ hours that we've going on. Do you think Trump will be the last president?
Oh man, that's a scary thought. I don't know what that means.
The unknown is always scary.
It would have to deteriorate into a civil war type situation, and martial law and all that. But I don't know. They're gonna have to run a damn good candidate after Trump, because I like Sean Duffy. You know who Sean Duffy is?
You showed me.
His wife's Hispanic, Maria.
They were
Maria
reality
Campos
TV.
Yeah, they were, but he's like a fucking lumberjack champion of like climbing trees and cutting trees down with an axe. Like he can throw an axe and shit. He's like Americana. I think they're from Wisconsin, And I think if they ran a young Republican like him that kept Trump, where we went wrong after Reagan was George H.W. Bush taking over. It's going on Desert Storm and shit. But if we have
I think Reagan had bait of conservative principles, which or whatever his appeal was, right?
Yeah.
To the common folk, and then you had all this other stuff going on in the background, which would be like, what's going to happen afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So Trump is the same way. It's kind of the same way Kennedy was, Yeah. Kennedy and Trump have a lot in common if you look at it.
Yep.
I
cared about the people, womanizers.
Have a history of talking about dismantling corrupt institutions. Trump has mentioned about the Federal Reserve.
Dude.
And it's a way to look at, like, as far as universal basic income, which it's gonna happen, I imagine. Like, this year has proven that it's like, okay, we do have to have some sort of safety net, because you can't forcibly shut down somebody's fucking business.
Yeah.
And then, like, you don't give them a fucking option to open it back up.
Yeah.
Like, that's fascism.
And then Nancy Pelosi goes to a hair salon that she's had shut down.
Yeah. The rules are for thee, not me.
Yeah.
Get fucked. I don't give a shit what political party is on, but like, her district is in the gutter as far as I have seen.
Yeah.
Like, and you still, and maybe it's different now. I don't know. I don't live in Cali. Don't live in San Francisco area.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to, like, cosmetologists haven't been able to, like, work, like, hair salons, like, have just been, like, shut the fuck down.
Yeah.
And she's allowed? That's an oligarchy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucking despicable.
Yeah.
This is a part of this power structure that did not, it used to involve the neocons and the Republicans, you know what I mean? But again, like, this populist movement from Trump, did something.
Trump inspires people. Every vote, his way is a giant middle finger to the establishment, and it's a middle finger to the corrupt politicians, and mostly the DNC. I don't know. I think there might be a new party that rises up after this election. I mean, after this 4 years, and I mean, I'm kind of all over the place, but
I know.
Everyone thinks Don Jr. will run for president or whatever. I don't think so. I think Eric is more competent than people give him credit for, and I think Eric, he's been paying attention. I think it's kind of the middle child. He's like off on his own, but I like Eric Trump, man. The way he talks, he's Don Jr. is kind of a greaseball, cheesy motherfucker. You know what I mean? But he likes to hunt and stuff, so he was like Second Amendment, and like he tries to do what his dad does, but he can't quite do it. You know what I mean? Like, he's on a show.
His dad's got like 40 years on him.
Yeah. But Eric, I like Eric, man. I also like Tom Cotton. Tim Scott would be a great president. But Sean Duffy, man, I just see like a great president. And he's got like 7 kids. Like, he'd be a pretty good president. But I don't know. We're just going to have to see how shit goes down. I can tell you this. If Biden becomes elected, we will have a conflict in this country. Because once they start implementing AOC and, all the people that his puppet masters start implementing their policies, it's going to...
Did you notice this?
That's when the right's going to stand up and be like, tyranny, 1776. Yeah.
Did you notice this from the debate towards the end, whenever Trump had goaded Biden into talking about the oil industry and that he was going to transition out of it.
Fracking, yeah.
No. The oil industry.
Okay, yeah.
It was later on. And
the second debate?
No, this most recent one.
Yeah, the second. Yeah, I call it the second debate. Go ahead.
Okay, so anywho, but whenever he mentioned that and Biden confirmed, yes, we're gonna transition out of the oil industry and get rid of it. And the moderator asked why he would choose to do that, right?
Yeah.
Why he would do that. But the tone that she gave was, why did you do that?
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah. She was actually being fair. It was really weird.
But not only fair, but just like why would you, you're running for office, why would you just admit that, you're going to get rid of the oil industry? You're campaigning to win, these Trump voters.
Yeah.
Like, she, like the tone in her voice was like...
She's part of the agenda, too. She was like...
I don't know if she was part of any agenda. Again,
like,
she won that fucking debate. The moderator was the fucking king.
Yeah, I forget
at the end of the day.
The Indian girl?
Kristen Welker?
Kristen Welker, yeah.
I don't know what her ancestry is. I'm just saying that
she's a White House correspondent or whatever for NBC. Is it NBC?
She works for NBC.
NBC. Yeah.
They held it down.
And she's
props NBC. You did a good job.
Yeah.
Thank you for not being like so many other legacy media.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. I believe in God, man. There's these prophecies by a guy named Ken Clement about Trump, and he's calling Trump's presidency like back in 2006, and he's talking about the World Trade Center like he's a prophet, and he called all these things, and he lived to see Trump become president, and he died like 2 weeks later or something like that. But it's powerful. Go to Kim Clement, that's CLEMENT, Trump prophecies, and it'll blow your mind.
I think that I think no matter what happens, conflict is coming.
It's coming, man.
I think it's coming.
But it's being exacerbated by the situation is being inflamed by the media.
Totally,
they're knowingly doing it. And I don't know. Once the right wingers stand up, you know what I mean? Like these Antifa motherfuckers are not ready for the ex-military guys that are going to stand up and squat up and march on Washington. I'm not calling for violence. I'm just saying this shit. You push people too far. Like the right has not been pushing doing anything violent. And maybe one or two, like they could bring up Charlottesville, where that was one dumb son of a bitch that ran his car into a crowd of protesters. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But Kyle Rittenhouse, he was just defending himself. And
I don't think that his family should have allowed him to be there.
That's true, but he was also a medic and he was helping people.
Right. That aside,
shot in the head after the guy was like, "You gonna shoot me?
Yeah.
Shoot me? You gonna shoot me?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Don't come at me," and he fucking shot him.
Famous last words. Somebody behind him with a pistol fired in the air. That's what I believe his lawyers are arguing now.
And then made him.
Yeah, because he was already running from them.
Yeah.
And he heard gunshots, so he turned around and sees the guy chased him. Boom.
Yeah.
It's the same guy from earlier as well. You know what I mean?
You don't attack a guy who's well trained with an AR-15 with a skateboard.
You never attack anybody with a fucking firearm unless your intent is to kill them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's or disarm them.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, when somebody is fleeing you,
let them go.
You are in the wrong if you're trying to disarm them. Like, that means you're the aggressor.
Yeah, he walked toward the police and the ambulance and stuff, and he put his sling behind him and was like, I give up. Come and question me. I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, they try to paint everything so fucking horrible, and they give Black Lives Matter and Antifa a pass all day.
The problem that I have with the way they spin this, right, is they don't talk about the difference between the mantra of things like BLM and anti-fascism, right? Mm-hmm. Instead, they have these, more or less, these marketing campaigns that are ideologically driven in order to take power back. And like whenever they haven't been able to do it by playing by the rules, well, it's like that same shitty fucking kid sitting around. Everybody's playing life, like, and he's like, well, I changed rules. I get to go back to the beginning and start life again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that same type of narcissistic mentality.
It's unconstitutional. It's illegal, and it's just bad form. That's an understatement.
Not a fan.
Not a fan. I'm not a fan of it either, man. Adam Schiff is a piece of shit. He knows. I mean, he's just still talking about Russia.
There's nothing there.
They are blatant liars.
What I've seen with Russia is just stuff where they have been influencing social media. That is not the interference in the election that they are trying to spin it as.
Apparently, the story goes that they're trying. Iran and Russia are trying to get Trump. They're trying to in Biden's favor.
I think you just got. It's an election year. You know what I mean? You got a lot of folks gambling. You got a lot of folks.
Of all
gambling.
the information out there, okay, all the mainstream media that obviously has these Democrats duped, and then you have.
Some are just like so turned off by Trump that they're just not going to vote for him.
Yeah, alternative media. You have all of this, and then people, are worried about memes and shit on Facebook influencing the election.
Yeah, like in Great Britain, they've started to have meme laws. Like in the UK, they've got fucking meme laws now.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's 1984, man, and this is. Social media is the vessel by which our free speech is going to be taken away because we're all plugged into it.
Right now, you've got up for nominees. You've got a candidate that is about opening up freedom.
Yep.
And another one that is about, dare I say, moderation. Well, what comes with moderation? Well, currently, it seems to have a strong hint of authoritarianism behind it.
Yep. And
you have these Marxists that are just sort of sitting in the back wing. Like BLM has it's an organization, right?
Yeah.
Like Black Lives Matter is not just a mantra. There's an organization with it.
Yeah, and the organization
that has
is corrupt to its roots.
That, from what I see, doesn't have a masculine male presence, a masculine male, a black male presence at the head. You have
actually these three or four, like 4 or 5 women that are these black women that are apparently
they're Marxists.
What is it, the Boudin, whatever, the Boulay Club or whatever? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like witches from New Orleans or whatever. And seriously,
that I don't.
You look up. What's his name? Bishop Larry Gators, and then the Boulay Society, and he talks about how black people are in the Boulay Society, and the Boulay Society is just another branch of the Illuminati or the Freemasons or whatever, and it's like the black club, and they basically sell their own people out to be part of the cabal with the white people.
Right. That much about as far as the bishop talks about. I haven't seen, I don't think, enough concrete stuff with it. Yeah. However, the stuff with them being radical left Marxists that are funded by a white man's quote unquote charitable donation that has a history of, I think he uses Color of Change is the name of the organization.
Soros?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But same way that who are they, the Koch brothers and the Rockefellers did with the right wing for eons and eons, right? Mm-hmm. We just live in a really fucking weird time right now where, again, some dude got elected to the highest and most notorious office in the land that nobody expected and nobody up top wanted because he was going to go in and have the power to make changes, tangible changes.
He has.
And if nothing else, then at a cultural level, right? So
He's changed everything on a political level, a social level, a cultural level, a global level. Trump is in charge right now. Whether you believe in QAnon or not, this is my take on it.
Do you think
Trump has all the information from the NSA through a team of patriots, and they're working together, and he has all the information about all these pedophiles and sickos and murder and all these things that have gone on with Saudi princes, the leaders of other countries, what they're
Chinese delegates now that this Biden,
he's got all this,
Hunter Biden's laptop supposedly has compromised data on it with China.
Yeah. Yeah, but Trump has gone and seen all these people, and there's this guy that's named bin Salman. He's the new Saudi prince or whatever. After the rest of the Saudi kings were all arrested or whatever like that, it was a corruption sting. Bin Salman's been helping Trump and going around to all these people and showing them, this is what they have on you, and you're basically going to capitulate to Trump and Trump's agenda.
Isn't it interesting? And this also ties in with the QAnon conspiracy. The reason they hate the QAnon conspiracy is because it's a almost Trump centric conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, it
So
really
like
is.
they
I mean,
they
that's what it has to
absolutely
do with it.
detest that.
Yeah. Yeah, orange man bad programming. You hate. I mean, you hate him, but if he was your uncle or your grandpa, you'd fucking love him because he's hilarious. You know.
I had told a friend of mine before who does not identify as a heteronormative, and that some of their gripes with it, and even with that, I was like, why don't you just write a letter to your president and tell him what your gripes are? Like, legitimately. Like, my brother wrote a couple of presidents, and he got a letter back. I think he got a letter back from Bill Clinton, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Like, I think he got another one from Obama back, just from writing them.
Really?
Yeah. Like, so, and their response was, it's past that. I'm like, what do you mean it's past that?
Yeah.
Like this guy still has, like, at the time, like, potentially another 6 years of being in power.
Yeah.
Like Ice Cube, going and like just being like, hey, I've got some ideas.
I got some ideas how will they help the black community and help all this social discord. And he's called an Uncle Tom and blasted about all these people. Like, that's an Ice Cube, man.
And it goes back to that what we unpacked on the last episode with our dear friend Dr. Mr. Schubert.
Yeah.
About what were we just talking about? Just lost it.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, yeah. About how if you dissent from this Antifa ideology, right, as far as what's in their manifesto, then you're a fascist or like anything, like you're deplorable, right? You're subhuman, so they can use any attack on you. So, they'll call them like, house Negroes and coons and Uncle Toms, all these like despicable terms because they're thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ben Carson is an Uncle Tom. Like, he's one of the most brilliant neurosurgeons in the world of black men. Like, why would you ever hate on someone like that?
Because I think it's a racist ideology.
It is racist.
And like the irony is that you have a lot of folks that detest racism, right? And they think of these no offense, strong personality types where you have, at least in this neck of the woods in South Georgia, the dominant culture is Christianity, and the dominant personality cultures are redneck and hood.
Yeah.
So whenever you're around those type of ideologues as the dominant culture, and most of them, they lean on the right side of the aisle. So it leaves this sour taste in like their mouth. However, again, like it's not seeing the forest for the trees. You know what I mean? It's not. It points back to what we were talking about earlier with them assuming that everyone who is not white, not cisgendered male, whatever demographic you want to put white people in.
Cisgendered.
You know what?
I know.
If you're supposed to think the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And they assume that, again, it's a homogeneous, homogenous, whatever the correct or preferred pronunciation is.
Homogenous.
Like that, they think that like black Americans do not all think the same. You fucking racist.
Yeah. Candace Owen, a nice meme I saw was she was like, if you didn't vote for Hillary, you ain't a real woman. If you don't vote for Joe, you ain't black. She's like, if you don't understand that the Democrats accuse everybody of what they're guilty of, you are stupid. Whatever. You ain't smart.
Yeah.
Basically what she said. Yeah.
So if you're not able to, again, like some friends of mine, like there was something I shared on my Instagram where it was a Trump rally in some city, and there was a fair amount of non-white people out there with their Trump 2020 and MAGA stuff on, and like all this stuff, American flags, and their whatever they wanted to have. And there's this guy shouting racist and like bigoted slurs at these people and saying, "Fill me, I don't care. I'm not gonna say what he said." You know what I mean? But like, this is okay because they're leaning left. They're anti-Trump, so it's okay for them to
Orange man
to use it. You know,
if you label people Nazis, it's okay to punch a Nazi. You know, like,
yeah, because then you're just setting the boundaries where it's just like, okay, well, it's okay to do this to like people. It's like
moving the goalposts.
Why don't you just treat it as an individual level, right? Who is this person?
Yeah.
Not what is his ideological belief, where did his ancestors come from, what did his parents do, what kind of religious beliefs do they have?
It's all lies, man. If one, I mean,
it's a way to put us in groups rather than like our individual sovereignty.
The 20th century is the story of how people were a tragic story of communism and socialism and revolution, where people were put into tribes and pitted against each other. Okay, just like what's happening in America right fucking now, and it always ended in starvation, genocide, power grabs, just corruption, you know, and just death and sadness. And
yeah, aside from it not working, it's fucking wrong. You have the right to be able to tell
it
somebody, this is mine, you can't have it.
It only ends sadly.
Unless you're in on the ground floor, and then you might profit from it.
Yeah.
You could be a useful idiot, though. That's the downside of it. You know what I mean?
The rest of us need. I mean, we need to wake up. If you're out there, I mean, if you're, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I'm not racist. You know what I mean? I'm not sexist. I don't care about homosexuals. I don't care. Honestly, I'm for gay marriage. You know what I mean? Because they're not hurting anybody. You know what I mean? Like I'm not an I'm more of a libertarian. But you know, this left wing party has just gone too fucking far, man. They're accusing people of being. I mean, that's a hell of a fucking strong accusation. You know what I mean? Like
it cheapens racism.
It does.
Like
it's cheapening everything. They're cheapening logic. It's fucking really upsetting.
What's upsetting to me is that the people that are barking about institutional racism from an institutional level are the racists in institutionalized racism. The beautiful irony that is.
Yeah.
The fire truck bursting into flames.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The waterfall that has ran dry.
The Democrats are they're plantation owners.
It's the same.
It's mental chains.
They've got their foot on their necks and they're telling them that, like, what you need to do is see that prisoner over there and all their homies. Mm-hmm. They're the problem.
Yep.
If you take them out, you'll probably be free.
Yeah.
You just need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. This asshole that was shouting these racist slurs at, like, there's like an Asian woman. There was some Latino people there. There's white people there. Like, it's what America looks like. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to its credit, the same way the radical left looks, it's just kind of heavily white at present. But it's okay to shout all these nasty and despicable terms to persons of color or BIPOC, black indigenous persons of color, right?
Yeah.
Like to any of these demographics that they've set up to, like, sort of quantify humanity.
Yeah.
If they don't agree with whatever your authority is at the time, right? And at present time, it seems to be left-wing authoritarianism. So again, like, Marxism is sexy now. Socialism is sexy. You know, the revolution is here.
It always is. Okay. Which brings me back to something
these
I
are
wanted to say a
companies
long
that are
time ago.
selling these, like, down with capitalism merchandise.
I like that line from Revolution by the Beatles, where it's like, you say you want a revolution, well, you know. And he's like, you can carry a picture of Chairman Mao. You ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow. You know it's gonna be all right.
Really?
Yeah. You can fucking, you know, toe the line and be part of the group, but I mean, you're empty inside. You're not gonna get laid, basically.
Yeah. You get reincarnated back in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Try again.
Yeah, but they're selling a fucking dream, and it's always the same. They always sell a dream, and they take over, and then the people that were for you get lined up against the wall and fucking shot.
Right.
And then so you can take it. So I mean, whoever climbs to the top of the trash heap and is evil enough That's what communism and socialism is.
We start policing people differently, right? And you see microcosms of this in, surprise, surprise, areas of the country that are heavily dependent on Democrat elected government and like money from the government. It's managed by mostly Democrats. And 2020, again, like you point out earlier with Trump, whenever they point the light on him, he's like, okay, that's cool. Let's bring up all the lights. Everybody gets lights on him. Where it's like, all right, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing. But he's still about free speech.
Yeah.
But fuck, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. What were we just talking about?
Revolution.
The irony, institutionalized racism.
Yeah, Democrats.
Damn you, brain. But yeah,
Anyways, the second debate, Trump was cool, calm, and collected. He did the same thing that he did in 2016, where he went.
now just to clarify, the second debate, because
Second
if I'm
debate-
taking a clip of this,
the third debate, not the town
Yeah.
halls. The third debate. Okay, the third debate. Trump was cool, calm, and collected. Okay, Biden walked right into the trap, and Trump started just like he did in 16. The same strategy. He went in for the kill on the first one, and everyone thought it was a shouting match. And then he had the town hall, which went brilliantly, even though he was in a den of vipers. And then the third debate, he was extremely presidential, calm, friendly. He's like, the coronavirus it came from China. It's not my fault. It's not Joe's fault. Like, showing that he's compassion. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I still like that he was still an asshole during the debate.
Oh yeah,
He
got heated, but it was
He kept it to
He's
his
like,
time
Joe.
for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. They both did, but Trump was like, Joe. He's like, what about he didn't go.
Who built
in.
the cages, Joe?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Who built the cages,
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
He didn't have an answer. The worst debate point. Sorry, was the first debate when he asked him, "Do you plan on packing the Supreme Court?" And he's like, "No, I'm not going to answer that question." He's like, "Y'all need to vote." He looks in the camera. He's like, "Y'all need to go vote." He's like, "When I become president," he's like, "that the issue will be the issue." And it's like, you got to tell people this is a fucking Happy Meal. You got to tell people what the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to tell people what are you selling. You know what I mean? Like they ask you a question, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just take care of that when I'm president." It's like, motherfucker, no, you won't.
it's a marketing campaign. I think that it's in a way attributed to so much of the outrage has been folks have become aware of all this shenanigans going on. So like they've spent what seems to be 3 years spinning this narrative of Russia and foreign interference, because towards the end of the Obama years, it looks like there was some foreign interference and some foreign no good going on from the DNC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was Marx who said this. It's one of those internet quotes. You know what I mean? Where it's like Gandhi said the internet would rape us all.
Yeah.
But it was accuse your enemy of what you are doing in order to create chaos and confusion.
Yeah, and if you want people to believe a lie, say the lie big and loud long enough, and they'll start believing the lie. That's what's happened with Trump. That's what's happened with the media going against Trump.
Well, why would actors lie, Mike? Why would actors lie?
Why indeed? Trump with his COVID scare or whatever. I don't personally think he had COVID.
Did you see the boat video?
No.
I'm glad. Okay, so there's you'll find this pretty cool.
Okay.
The video where he's sitting, he's got his tie off, he's got two flags behind him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's teetering, tottering. He's on a boat. He's on a boat.
And you can even see the tassels and the waves of the flag.
A piece of paper flat against the trim around the chair rail or whatever, and it was teetering up and teetering. He was on a boat, and the whole boat was probably on an aircraft carrier. But they said he was at the
hospital.
The hospital, yeah. But yeah, I've seen that. Holy shit.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
what was really going on?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they said the 10 days of darkness or whatever, where they'd be making massive arrests and stuff like that. And Trump, like close to, I think that he used COVID as a cover for something, but I'm not sure what it was.
Did you see supposedly what
but
he said?
It was a show of strength, an example of courage. And he's like, don't be afraid. You know what I mean? Like, I believe highly in energy and perception. And
Absolutely.
for him to have COVID and then overcome it and then tell people we're going to give you what I had for free. You know what I mean? Like, people, it gives people hope,
Right.
and that's a very powerful thing. Hope and love. That's a powerful energy.
Yeah.
Biden outright blamed Trump for 200,000 deaths, which is a bad look. He's like, man, if you don't take anything away from this debate, he's like, I want to just say that, any man who's responsible for 200,000 deaths can't be allowed to be president. And I was like, holy shit, that's it's kind of morose. It's kind of a dark, you know what I mean? And he talked about the dark winter we're about to go into. And I was just like, man, he's just fucking, Trump's on point,
Well, at one point he called out those type of mudslinging moves, right? What he said was that, you always do that, Joe, you don't answer the question. Instead, you go like, "Look at this." You turn to the camera and you talk about the family and sitting around a table. And, like it's a typical politician move. I'm not really a typical politician,
Yeah.
so.
He said that?
Trump did? Yeah.
When?
In the debate last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've watched it like twice through, but I was eating and stuff like that, so I probably missed a little bit of it.
Chewing too loud, man. You gotta whisper chew.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I don't know. We talked about a lot of shit on this podcast, but that's my case for Donald Trump. No war, just cares about the people, and doesn't need the money, and he's fighting hard, and he's got an army of people against him that do not have our best interests in their hearts. So, yeah.
Shit, Mike. We got about 2 hours and 40 some minutes of
Right on, dude.
of Trump talk for you.
Yeah.
Again, I'll close it out by saying that I really appreciate your perspective.
Thank you.
On things, and again, whoever you choose to vote for, and for all of my listeners, you should vote for whoever you damn well please.
Vote. Get your ass out and vote.
Even if you don't believe in voting, I say that if you don't want to vote, don't vote. I'm all about it. Like, if you're apolitical and you're just like that type of anarchism is your style, don't vote. All about it, man. I don't want anybody. If you do vote, I want you to have a reason for why you're voting for somebody.
Yep.
You have to have a reason, and I don't think that just having this notion of the orange man bad, orange man good mentality is prosperous in the long run.
Judge him on the merits. Judge him on what he's actually done and what he's tried to do. Don't judge him by what he says on Twitter, because he's a jackass. But he's, in my opinion, a lovable jackass.
Well, awesome. Well, dude, again, we'll come back and unpack some theology and
Absolutely.
some stuff like that.
Cool.
So,
dude,
high five.
Thank you for having me,
dude. Anytime, man. Like I said, and you guys vote for whoever you want to vote for, or don't vote.
Yeah.
But don't let anybody shame you and like you shouldn't vote for this or whatnot. If anybody shames you for your beliefs, and even with again, I'm not sure how if the JoJo episode is going to be pro JoJo or
you still got to do the
for Joe Jorgensen.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Still got that one, but if somebody's telling you that you shouldn't vote for somebody or a lesser third candidate, I think there's actually 7 or 8 people running for president, if I'm not mistaken, for all these different parties and affiliations. You should vote for whoever you want to vote for, man. The only way to create a movement is like start a movement. You know what I mean? If it's not existing, you want to enact change, like true change in the long run, not this insurgency bullshit. I ain't about that. I'm about like preserving our Constitution. So,
well, I'm here to advocate for Trump. So, I'm just going to say 4 more years of Trump will be extremely, extremely prosperous and good for our country, and that's what I have to say.
Awesome, Michael Price.
Colter reigns.
Thanks again for coming on, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Later, y'all.
See ya.